6:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports of the Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Titans defensive coordinator Gus Bradley and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll spoke to the media for the first time yesterday as Titans had members of the coaching staff. Daboll talked about why he's excited to have Cam Ward as his quarterback in 2026.
He's a young, athletic quarterback who has accuracy, who can make plays on the move. He can do a great job of, if the play doesn't look great and then all of a sudden it looks great because of his ability. He's smart. I look forward to communicating with him and building this thing together.
In other NFL news, the Seahawks, after winning Super Bowl 60, are officially up for sale, as the estate of Paul Allen announced yesterday. Allen bought the team for $194 million back in 1997. Now, after 2 Super Bowl wins, it will be worth billions. In college hoops last night, Tennessee handled Oklahoma in Knoxville, winning 89-66, led by Nate Ament with 29 points, 6 rebounds, a block, and a steal. Number 19 Vanderbilt took an 81-80 loss to Missouri, despite a 27-point performance from Tyler Tanner. And in the Winter Olympics, the U.S. men's hockey team beat Sweden 2-1 thanks to Quinn Hughes in overtime. They'll now face Slovakia in the semifinals coming up on Friday. And for today, the U.S. women's hockey team will face off against Canada in the gold medal game. That starts around noon Central Time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into your Thursday morning on Ramon and Will. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome to Friday Junior on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 is the number. 104.5 The Zone TV is where you stream us. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Kind of a sneaky good sports day. Yesterday, SEC basketball had a moment. We'll get into that with Dane Bradshaw of SEC Network at 8:20 on the show this morning. The Winter Olympics delivered. Quinn Hughes is an American hero. Yes. Right up there with our founding fathers. We'll talk about that as the show goes on this morning. Coach Mack, as always, at 7:20. And then locally, we met the Titans coordinators. Gus Bradley, Brian Daboll speaking to the media. I'm sure many of you have thoughts. We do as well. Live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
We're good, man. Good morning. Happy Friday, Junior, man. You got to tell yourself that just to get you to Friday. Listen to me. However, you got to start off this Thursday before Friday, or Friday Juniors, we like to call it. Do it. Okay, we got rain. Weather's a little back and forth. We got light winter in the mornings and summers in the afternoons. But hear me out. We're going to make it through and we're going to crush today, Will, because we got a lot of good audio and first time introduction to the OCDC. I enjoyed it yesterday.
What was your first impression and biggest takeaway from hearing Gus Bradley and Brian Daboll?
They are very slow to give you all of their game plan, and I like that for them. I knew we were going to get coach speak, but it was some of the questions that were asked yesterday, respectfully for the people that were trying to get the intel, that they just chose to not answer. And I thought that was probably the best thing that they could have done for themselves as coaches and for this team and just the individual players as well. Although there was some intel that was given on the type of players that they like, the relationships that they have as coaches, and how they as a staff will go about evaluating and giving everybody in the building a fair shake. I never really went through that as an entire staff, but I couldn't imagine the anxiety that those players have. Of, am I their guy? Am I their type? And very open-minded group.
Yeah, that was honestly one of my big takeaways as well. A lot of we'll see about scheme and about getting to know players and about matching what they want to do with plays based off of when they learn who they have. They're clearly not there yet. A lot of, hey, we're installing simple terminology, vocabulary, and things of that nature. And then a lot of talk about Cam Ward from Brian Daboll. Ramon, these two guys also definitely sound like head coaches when they talk to the media.
Yes, they do. And you hear that come out to us from Gus Bradley and Brian Daboll for every time the Cam question was brought up or Jeff was brought up to Gus Bradley, they talked about them real quick, and then they went to, but it's all about the team. And when they spoke about themselves, but it's not about me. It was very apparent their approach to this job and how they're going to try to temper expectations and put everybody on Front Street, not just Cam. I loved how Daboll continually would start off about Cam and say, but it's about the means of everybody else as well, or it's about, the other 10 guys out there on the field. And I thought that was super unique, and I'm glad he did that, to not solely make this about Cam Ward, which we understand the task at hand. But I'm glad they're pushing everybody.
How does Brian Daboll's head coaching experience help Robert Saleh? This was the Titans OC yesterday.
Yeah, well, I would say this. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the job that Robert has to do from being in that. I'm very happy to be where I'm at right now and to be part of this football team as the offensive coordinator. I'm always going to be here for Robert, the rest of the staff. But, that's a hard chair to sit in, and having some experience sitting in it will help me relative to being the best teammate I can be for this staff. And this is the place I want to be. I'm excited to be here. I look forward to working with this young nucleus, working with Robert, and doing the best job I can do as the offensive coordinator.
Ramon, you can definitely tell that Brian Daboll is a fiery guy. You can also tell he's a bit more relaxed, I think, in the way that he talks versus someone that has all the pressures of being a head coach on them. Fair?
Yes, absolutely. I was actually listening to the OTP that he did with Taylor Zarzor as well. And Taylor brought up the fact that, he's been coaching for over 30-plus years between college and the NFL. He was saying when he got let go last year, it was his first time as far as being able to sit back and evaluate himself, be around family for those 2 months in November, December, and get to know himself. And that was one of the things that he brought up, is the evaluation of what he needed to get better and how he was going to go about it as well. He also, mentioned that as in this presser, how calm he was and how he does still run hot too. But when coaches get let go dramatically, and he was a head coach, the highest of the high for coaches in this league, other than probably navigating to a GM, I'm sure the embarrassment made him self-check. And I do mean embarrassment, because he did say that as well. Like, the good is awesome, but the bad makes you realize what you are and what you need to fix as a player, as a team, and as a coach as well. So I'll be honest, I said that I was having a conversation with somebody recently, like, the bad stuff is what makes you better. It sucks that you got to go through it and he got fired the way he did, but we're seeing a different version of him because of that.
Right. For the good coaches, you learn from the missteps. I mean, for any of us in any walk of life, you learn from what doesn't go well. It was interesting, though, too, just how he and Gus Bradley both navigated talking too much about players. I think also, Ramon, considering the turnover that could still happen on this roster. And whether that was Gus Bradley being asked about T'Vondre Sweat or Brian Daboll being asked about Calvin Ridley, they're not touching any more than 100 level surface. Hey, that's a good football player. Anyway, what else you got for me? And I think they're both smart to do that, considering that there will be surprises on who's not back next year in the role that they played this year.
Yep, no doubt. And you have to keep it that way. You don't want guys coming in quitting on themselves or having a perception of what they heard in the media, what they think coaches like and want. Because, again, the difference between the NFL and I would say college is it's a smaller pool of player that you're willing to hire. And the ones that are currently hired are hired for a reason. So you got to, as a coach, figure out the why. And those guys emphasized that yesterday in their conversation. I know T'Vondre Sweat got asked about a good bit. Jeff did too. But, of course, Jeff is Jeff at this point. But the way you view the other guys on this team, like Jalen Harrell, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is he to Gus Bradley? And Coach didn't specify that in the public. I love the professional approach to all of those things, Will, because, again, this team is bringing in this coaching staff for a reason. They're bad. The players know they were bad as a team. And the one thing you don't want your coaches coming in saying or letting the world know, these guys are bad and they're terrible football players and terrible combination of a team, and I'm here to make them better. Well, what if they just don't fit you, or what if they were coached bad? And that's what he was saying as well. I know Gus Bradley mentioned that too. Like the coaching staff before them did good stuff. It's just a matter of figuring out how much better can they make them.
Yeah, what can we build on, or what do we want to tear down? Exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting process. I think for me, the biggest takeaway is these guys know who they are, and they know how to do the roles that they've been given.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily make them perfect. No one is. It doesn't mean that they're going to be wild successes. It just means exactly what it is, that you have two coordinators who are three if you want to throw Bones in there.
Yeah.
Very secure in who they are as coaches. The playbook's been written. Now you're going to call plays from it. And I don't mean that in terms of plays on the field. I mean that as far as how you do everything. Mm-hmm. Like these guys all have processes and steps to do their jobs and have had varying degrees of success doing them. That translates from the way they speak, from the way that they talk about installing terminology, developing coaches, having a plan on game day with Robert Saleh. It's one thing to have a non-play calling defensive coordinator. That's probably something that takes a solid level of adjustment, working with a head coach calling plays on defense. But they've already done it, Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley. Those two have worked together on game days. There's no we're going to see that this is how our role is going to look on game days. No, we've done it. Hey, I'm going to tell Robert that I've got thoughts on a red zone play. And every now and then he's going to shoot me down. But in San Francisco, we've done that before.
Yep.
I like that these two coordinators can say so many things about, hey, I've done this before. Here's how it's worked or not worked, and here's what I've learned about it. We're going to talk later in the show about how the Titans can learn from their past rebuild and really from a 2024 offseason, Ramon, that we thought in the moment was going pretty well, and clearly it didn't. It yielded the number 1 overall pick the next season and number 4 this season. That is certainly one thing that this organization has already learned from. Get guys in the building who've done the job before.
Yep. No doubt about it. And what was the term that they used? It was, we are challenging but never attacking. Right, and I thought that was the best way in which you go about doing this. And I think the players will have to adjust to that as well. Because sometimes I feel like when you watch players go at each other, it is in the sense okay, how far are we going close to the line? But the fact that the coaches understand the differences between the two, now they can ask the guys, this is how you challenge your teammate to make him better. And if you knock him on his butt, it ain't because you're trying to embarrass him. It's because you're trying to challenge him or whatever the case may be. That to me sounds like they're trying to create a healthy locker room and culture and competition, Will, more than almost anything else. Like the brotherhood side of it, I'm going to be honest with you, that comes with making each other better and forcing football to be the main thing. And that's kind of what I was hearing yesterday.
Coming up, what impresses Brian Daboll about Cam Ward, and what impresses him about players not named Cam Ward on the Titans roster? We did get some player evaluations yesterday from a Titans coordinator. Brian Daboll certainly delivered. You'll hear from him coming up next. So Brian Daboll definitely sounds like a head coach. And here he is essentially the head coach of the offense. If you were unfamiliar with your new offensive coordinator, former Alabama OC, Bills OC, Giants head coach, I imagine you liked what you heard yesterday. 615-737-1045 if you'd like to chime in with your big takeaways. What impresses Brian Daboll about Cam Ward? Let's start there, as the new Titans OC speaks to the media yesterday and hypes up his new quarterback.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of work to do with everybody. But again, he's a young, athletic quarterback who has accuracy, who can make plays on the move. He can do a great job of, if the play doesn't look great and then all of a sudden it looks great because of his ability. He's smart. I look forward to communicating with him and building this thing together, along with the other pieces that we have in play and the pieces that we'll go get. But it'll be a collective deal. This is obviously a big piece to quarterback. I understand why you're asking it, but it's someone that I look forward to working with.
What stands out there, Ramon?
As soon as I turn my mic on, I'll just give you the answer. How much natural talent he has, and how also Coach he's got to hone it in and add more detail to it. I thought that was fascinating. And listen to him yesterday as everybody was speaking about the pre-draft conversation about with the Giants wanting him. And they will just letting you know, he's gone through this. He's watched all of Cam film from Washington State to Miami and everywhere else in between. And how he knows what he possesses, the unique talent that his arm has, but also how he's got to learn and grow as a young athlete as well. Again, not too much, just enough to let you know that Cam is going to be coached up well, and the instruction that he's going to be given is going to be a mutual back and forth. I thought that was unique in his approach in talking about Cam, because everybody's worried about can he match Cam's mentality. And coaches is like, no, I'm here to coach you. I'm here to make you better. Put you in a box and let you learn how to run this offense so we all can flourish, man. I thought that was fascinating from him.
His comment about Cam's skill set and athleticism can get you into good looks when you're not originally in them, I think it's really interesting. And I think that also is kind of a post-snap comment, right?
Yeah.
We talk about this so many times with before the snap. There are quarterbacks that will get you into the right look consistently, whether that's in the run game, whether that's in a hot read against 7 or 8 blitzing you, whether that's finding your one-on-one on the outside and delivering an accurate ball. Brian Daboll is seemingly embracing the improv, the off-script, the off-schedule stuff. Cam's going to get us in good looks after the snap. Is essentially the way I hear that. And I like it. I think you have to balance embracing the let Cam cook while also understanding that he answers the first part of the question the right way, too, saying, yeah, there are a lot of guys in this team we're going to talk about. Cam is one of them. But anyway, here's the positives on Cam. He kind of prefaced a lot of his compliments well to not put too much pressure and then not just put too much on Cam's shoulders for him to do, because sometimes bad things happen when Cam does too much as well.
They do. Overpromising, because people want to see your number 1 overall draft pick and a quarterback be elite immediately, and sometimes you got to grow into that. There's 2 things also that I pull from Daboll that I wrote down yesterday when listened to him talk. One, the discipline of his team, of his side of the ball. I think that right there is going to hopefully send them over the top in a way in which they hadn't before. That starts with the quarterback and then everybody up front. And then everybody else being where you're asking them to be on the team, being disciplined, not overloading guys is another thing that he mentioned. We got to be able to play fast. I thought that was super good to hear as well, because a lot of the time the stuff that you can do can look overly complicated. But the fact that you keep it so simple, you can move fast in which people can catch up to it, or you're doing everything that you need to at the maximum blip. The other part to me is this, and I'm not sure if we'll get to this clip or not, but when Coach Daboll was asked about other quarterbacks that he's coached.
We're about to get to it in 30 seconds.
Reluctant. Yeah, we'll just play that one, but I was glad that he just shut that down. Cam is Cam. Josh Allen's Josh Allen. It is it's refreshing to hear that not be the leading conversation.
Brian Daboll asked, how do young quarterbacks help inform you on how to coach Cam Ward, the other guys you've worked with, what'd you learn from coaching them? Here's Daboll.
Yeah, I think every situation is unique. Again, we've had some young quarterbacks previously with obviously Josh and Jackson at New York, but everybody's different. I don't want to just put him into a particular box. I think the most important thing is to first develop the relationship with the young man and then get a feel for how he's seeing the game. That's hard to do right now when you're not able to sit down and talk a lot of football. So I always like to see the game through the quarterback's eyes. And again, there's going to be mistakes out there that I think he's made on tape previous, and he might have a completely different answer. So that communication is really important. I learned that dealing with Josh, dealing with Jackson, but been around some veteran quarterbacks. It's a hard position to play. It's easy to sit back there and say, what the hell did you do that for? But until I can get that communication with him and go through these plays with a fine-tooth comb, iron out the details of it, we're a little bit of ways from that.
So you like that he's not even going to touch comparing Cam Ward to Josh Allen?
Not even. Even Jackson Dart name he brought up right there, because it makes no sense. It's two totally different athletes, two totally different schemes. He doesn't know why Cam think the way he does. And the first approach he said was gaining the respect of him, being able to communicate with him in a way to, ask those questions and figure out, how do I be honest about either your technique or what you should do as a player, not what Josh Allen did. I think it's kind of flagrant too. And we've learned this, to associate a coach with the quarterbacks that he's coached in the past and expect those similar results. You can't do that. I heard him speaking. He sat down with, it was either later in his press conference or when he sat down with Taylor Zarzo. He was speaking about Trent Brown and how unique and different it was when he was with the Patriots, and how Trent just told him, I'm just me, coach, and made him realize, if I'm, remembering right, you can't tell Trent Brown how to block because Trent is just him. The way he said, if you ever watch a tackle set and how he goes about his business, it's not ideal. The same way you can say about any other player in this league. Each player needs to be judged off what they show you and what you think their strengths are and how much you can minimize their weaknesses, and specifically at that spot, because the coaches the players and quarterbacks that Daboll has coached is going to naturally make you want to say, well, why isn't he like Josh Allen if Cam isn't there this year? All the other guys that he coached in years past, and I'm glad he's setting that precedence now that don't judge Cam off of who else I've coached. I'm here to make this version of Cam Ward the best quarterback for himself and for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I think Brian Daboll set a boundary.
He did.
And I like that it's different from comparisons to Joe Burrow under the previous regime. That's not a shot necessarily at Brian Callahan. I think Brian Callahan was asked questions and legitimately enjoyed answering them sometimes. Sometimes, I say. And I think he wanted to be honest. He was. How did Joe Burrow inform your opinion on ... on this element of coaching? And he'd answer the question. Brian Daboll's got a little bit of a different way of, hey, I appreciate your question, but I'm not going to answer it. But here's what I will give you. That doesn't mean he's going to be a wild success. Doesn't mean that, that's the reason why Brian wasn't. It just kind of is what it is, isn't it, Ramon? Like it is. You're not going to get the same level of, well, with Joe, we did it this way. It's not. Cam Ward's his own guy. Mm-hmm. There is nothing that I'm going to take from Josh Allen and give you publicly about how I can relate it to Cam Ward. And it's funny, Ramon, because I don't think anybody would blame him if he did, especially not the fan base, because the fan base wants Cam Ward, obviously, to be compared to Josh Allen, because that'd be great for Cam Ward. It's a good guy to be compared to. But I like that Brian Daboll is setting that boundary on the front end to say, Cam is Cam. Let's not put him in any other box, and let's let him develop at his own speed, at his own time, and in his own process.
Mm-hmm. Is necessary.
You've been on this for years now, that Callahan's staff, it was too much too quickly.
Too much.
Meaning not crowning. That's not the right word.
That's the word I'll use.
That's the word you'll use.
I use that often.
You've said that, of crowning guys as dudes.
Yeah.
Before they'd really earned it on the football field.
I'm against that, and I'm glad that this coaching staff is also pushing that narrative as well. you don't walk into that locker room, any NFL locker room. Heck, well, when you walk in as a new freshman in high school and everybody's heard, man, we got this kid from California that's supposed to be good. You know how those, he better be good. You know what I'm saying?
I hear he ran a hand-timed 4.5.
Oh, my gosh.
Back at a rivals camp.
He dunked in the 6th grade. Like, no. Show me you're dunking. Okay, show me that you can throw the ball 60 yards as a 7th grade. Like, I'm correlating it to school stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I get tired of this narrative when guys or coaches, for that matter, man, he's supposed to make this guy look like Joe or this guy like Lamar Jackson.
Get infatuated with the talent.
Those locker rooms, man, like that type of stuff, to be quite honest with you, is disrespectful to the players inside of the locker room or to the coaches that are simply trying to do their job. And you might not know, as Coach Daboll said, how much work this guy has to do to get good. And I've always been an advocate of, prove to me that you are what they say you are. And I think that's the way they're approaching Cam, this team, and everybody else that's in the fold, from T'Vondre Sweat that was asked about yesterday to Jeffrey Simmons to the type of defensive players that Coach that Coach Gus Bradley wants as well. Like, let us give you these answers in real time when you see what it looked like on the field. And again, I know everybody's want Cam, to your point, to be the best version of a number one overall quarterback as well. But the way I'm hearing Coach Daboll and Coach Saleh approach him is this: he got to go prove and earn that as well. Mm-hmm. And that is as fair to Cam and to everybody else on that locker room. I will even go this far, too, to the fan base. You shouldn't be in a position where you're expecting this guy to just pop. Because, again, I'm not sure what Jaden Daniels is going to look like in year 3. Do I think he's going to be fine? But looking for that version of his rookie year again, he's got to do that again on the field. You can't just continually just crown him as the guy. And I think that's why we all have those conversations about Joe Burrow as well. Like, Joe, you're good, but how far are you going to take your team despite everything else surrounding you?
Open for your feedback and thoughts on the phones at 615-737-1045. Tim in Mount Juliet leads us off this morning. What's up, Tim?
Morning, Tim.
Hey, guys. Yeah, almost Friday, ready for the weekend.
Absolutely.
So listening yesterday, and I guess my main takeaway was this guy answered, and talking about Daboll specifically, this guy answers every question, like, perfectly. Like, this guy knows what to say in press conferences, and I guess the thing I take away from that is that this guy's going to be a head coach probably next year. And I guess that sucks, obviously, if, we want Cam Ward to be developed as best as possible and turn into, the next great thing. And that's going to be tough when you have a new OC every year. And I know that's just kind of the business, but I think even if the Titans aren't very good this year, he's still probably going to be a head coach next year. And I think that's because, like, you know how Saleh, like, he was terrible as the Jets head coach. People made excuses for him, though. Well, it's the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably even going to get some of that next year if the Titans aren't very good. I mean, if they're the last place offense in the league, maybe not. But even if they're kind of good, like, it's just going to be like, well, the Titans didn't win more because they're the Titans. But Daboll is a great coach. Daboll got the Titans 8 wins, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's probably gone next year, and that kind of sucks. I wish, we could keep it.
Hey, Tim, real quick.
Yeah.
Man, enjoy it while you got it. Don't even think about next year, Tim. Like, right now, you got a whole spring, you got a draft, you got OTAs, you got training camp, and you got 17, hopefully, plus games to watch in real time. I will say, I didn't think, Tim, I want you to stay there, I didn't think he pushed the narrative of head coach. I will say this, I think he approached it with not making mistakes as if he's searching for more. That's the way I looked at it. But I don't want y'all to just be thinking like, man, this is going to be a 1-year thing and it's done. Like, Tim, relish in this, man. Be in the moment is what I would ask you this time around if you think it's going to be good as well.
Yeah, and you know what? If we're at the point where we are enjoying it, it's been a while since I enjoyed Titans games. So if we are enjoying Titans games, I'll be happy. And I will say thank you, Mr. Daboll. You have a good career somewhere else. I find it hard to believe we're going to be, having a great season, though, with no matter who's the coach. So that's me, though.
Well, that means he'll be here for more than 1 year then, Tim.
Appreciate the call, Tim. No, I agree.
I didn't want to attack him like that, but I just want to
it's not an attack.
Be in the moment, Tim. I feel you, though. That That BTS is showing up.
Tim is processing this the way I golf. When I'm having a really good round, my first thought is like, dang it. I hope I can keep this swing thought. I hope I can keep doing this. I'll literally go on my notes app and be like, what am I doing right that I can keep doing? How do I continue correctly golfing? Dang it. One of these days I'm going to lose this swing. And then in a couple weeks I've lost it. I'm like, why did I just enjoy when I had a good round of golf? Because it doesn't happen very much.
That's all it is, man.
You just gotta let it roll. I do think that there's no guarantee Brian Daboll's only here for 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Titans are, I don't know, 7-10 with the 20th ranked scoring offense and the defense flips right away and is better,
Right.
I don't know if he's definitely a head coach. Again, there's just so much we don't know that's going to happen a year from now. Mm-hmm. On the grand scheme of problems that this team is facing and this organization has to solve right now. But Brian Daboll maybe only being here for 1 year is to the middle/bottom of the list.
Yeah, it is.
Just let it play out.
You got to approach this like Bane did in the airplane. No, brother. They're expecting one of us to remain in the wreckage.
Well, we hope it's not wreckage.
And that's
the hope. We hope the plane lands.
Like somebody,
the plane lands.
He's got to leave some people behind is the point. And you're hopeful that for Cam, that the offense of whoever his underling is taking on Daboll's approach to Cam as well.
I'll tell you what, he did give a shout out to Luke Stocker yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Said he's a really good coach from what he can already tell.
Yes, he did, man.
Coming up, Brian Daboll did tip his hand about where one player is going to play in his offense. One thing I thought was very interesting that was a quick comment, but potentially a significant one from the new Titans offensive coordinator. We'll play it for you coming up next. Open for your feedback on what you learned from the Titans coordinators yesterday. 615-737-1045, our number. We stream the show live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Ramon, Brian Daboll did a good job of not putting too much pressure on players, not getting too in the weeds on evaluations. Mm-hmm. But there was one answer he had where I thought we learned how he felt about a player.
Let
me just play it for you.
Was it Calvin?
No.
Okay.
Brian Daboll asked, and a good question by Easton Freeze. I think it was Easton.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
What is your evaluation of players not named Cam Ward on the roster?
Look, it's a youthful roster for the most part. I know there's some free agents that are coming up right now, but they got two receivers that are tough, that play the game the right way. DK obviously special teams is well documented, but has done some things on the offensive side of the ball. I think Spears and Pollard are two good running backs that make yards when they have the ball in their hands. JC is a big, strong. I like JC. I think he's a good piece there to have at right tackle. So, look, there's a number of things right now, but again, to give you an evaluation of every guy or this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to be, I like the vision that Saleh had, and I like the vision that Borgo had. And there's a good young quarterback that I felt very good about leading up to the draft, and I think he did a lot of good things last year. And look forward to trying to build off of that and maybe incorporate some things that he feels good about. But, April can't come soon enough.
Starting at right tackle from Alabama, J.C. Latham.
To me, I was just thinking that as well. He couldn't describe him, by the way. He's a big, strong, I like him as a football player.
Stopped himself.
I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you, when I heard him make that little pause, I'm like, where are you playing him at? Okay, you just
and
like
then he
him.
said it. Yeah,
you just like him. I will say this as well, just transparency-wise on my end, my conversation, I'll speak for myself on this. On the running backs, he pretty much, I don't know how to feel about that one because he mentioned Pollard and also Tajay as far as great running backs when they got the ball in their hand.
He was very specific to mention guys that are currently on the team, that are currently under contract, and not get too in the weeds on personnel decisions.
Or, yes, that's the point right there. Draft positioning or free agency. He wasn't specific as well on them, but it's fascinating you mentioned those two.
Nor should he be.
No, at all. But, yeah, JC he likes. I think when you look at JC Latham in general, everybody should like what he is, even if you're up in the air about what you think of him as right tackle, left tackle, or interior for that matter.
And Daboll's clearly not, because he said, I like him at right tackle.
Right tackle. He did. And it's going to be interesting. So you mentioned that offensive line side, and my ears go up like a German shepherd whenever I'm on the scent when you mention offensive line. But it was fascinating when he was describing, I think, the offense and what he was looking for as well. I'm not sure if we have this cut, but he did bring up the offensive line or what he wanted his offense to look like. And he said this to me, and I think is as smart as anything he's ever said. And I ain't biased. I'm biased.
You're biased. It's okay.
I am.
A lot of people literally tune into this show to listen to that bias and enjoy it. So lean into it.
He did. He said the O-line sets the identity. I'm not sure if we have that cut somewhere, but he gave more of a
I don't know when he said that.
Of an explanation of how he wants this team to be. And he mentioned how the offensive line sets everything up. They lead the way. If you got a big, strong, nasty group, then that makes everything else better. And I just wrote down in my notes, I forget where it was. It was shortly after he compared Cam to the other quarterbacks that he had coached. But he mentioned the O-line setting the identity. That, to me, says a lot. That, to me, tells me that they're going to have a run game. The guys up front need to, I ain't going to say have a personality, but they need to have a skill set in which dogging somebody out is at the top of their list. Because when you walk inside of that stadium and you got your big dogs up front and you got an attitude guy like Cam behind them, you're going to need some protection. Not just in the sense of protecting him from throwing the football, but with the idea that we own your defense. And I thought that is... that's how you win on offense. And it's boring speaking about the OL, but when you got 5 up front, 6, and a backup as well, there's nothing else that you can't do. And I'm glad he put an emphasis on that for the most part.
It's exactly what you've told us about what worked in Pittsburgh. You guys up front, and you and the Pouncey's and Alejandro Villanueva.
DeCastro.
Yeah, David DeCastro. You guys set the tone for what you felt like Pittsburgh Steelers culture meant for 11 years of you being in an NFL locker room.
And if you look at the good pockets of offenses around the league, it falls on that. It just does. Like, the secret is, you better have speed, skill, and a damn good quarterback. But, like, what's really the base of this soup that we're cooking is the guys up front.
It's a big man's game.
It is.
It totally is. You've seen two teams back-to-back win Super Bowls based off of winning the line of scrimmage. I mean, Kansas City won its last Super Bowl more so because of their line of scrimmage play, specifically on defense, more so than anything else or any guy they had at quarterback.
And that can do nothing but help Cam. But here's the thing. If you got those guys up front, then Tony and Tajay, since he mentioned them, those guys are good. Your wide receivers got time to get out of their breaks, and Cam can deliver footballs if they're good. Like, I was glad to hear that. I'll have to find specifically where it was, but it was it was refreshing to hear that be a part of it as well. Now, how they build this thing back up, and get to the point or identify what they want on the O-line, we'll see what that's going to look like. And to your point, they didn't really give those answers yesterday.
We felt like coming in with Brian Daboll hired that Cam Ward was getting the right kind of coach. After listening to Daboll speak yesterday, it confirmed what I had hoped. Brian Daboll has the right temperament, personality, and experience to coach Cam Ward. I loved what he said in the audio we played 20 minutes ago about there are probably things on film that Cam thinks he's done right that I'm going to tell him, no, I want to change this. He also said, when he asked about Cam's mechanics, he said, no, I like Cam. I think Cam, every quarterback has a different way that works for them, and Cam has a way that works for him. That's exactly when we had Daryl Colbert on the show. Cam's private quarterback coach and quarterback coach through college. He said the same thing. He said, well, I had to go through a phase where I went from trying to fix Cam to building on what was repeatable and practical in his mechanics and in his unique style. Not every golf swing is the same. Not every pitching motion is the same. Not every throwing motion needs to be totally the same as long as you have the core principles of fundamentals that it takes to play NFL quarterback. I think Brian Daboll understands all of that. I think Brian Daboll is going to be able to get through to Cam and tell him no. And that is the thing that excites me the most about Brian Daboll. He has the gravitas and I think the platform to say, Cam, no. You've been doing it your way, and your way works in a lot of different ways. But when Brian Daboll puts his foot down and says, we're going to do this my way, I think Cam's going to listen. And I think there's a mutual respect there. Clearly, there is a relationship there to where this is a person to get through to address Cam Ward's weaknesses. Don't underestimate that. As strong-willed as Cam Ward is, don't underestimate that. I think they found the right coach to tell him no.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, too, as you made that point. And I think it'll be more so within the structure of this offense, too. Like you said, the uniqueness of his style of play and how he throws and how he uses his legs might have to start off to your point, but that's not what the offense is designed for.
Right.
Stay here.
And that's okay. That's not an insult to Cam Ward. That's just, hey, this guy's a second-year quarterback. It's really that simple.
The second year in the league, I didn't know a thing. I thought I did. It was better than my first year, but legitimately, Will, there's so much more to be had when it comes down to what this league presents to you just in under 2 years. And here's the other part as well. Cam's seen a lot of bad in that first year. So imagine what coach wants to tell him and show him and how to be successful.
615-737-1045. We'll get back to the Titans discussion with Coach Dave McGinnis coming up at 7:20. But when we come back, On 3 has way too early bowl projections, which I wouldn't normally care about in February, but I do think asks an interesting question. If you're a Vols and Vanderbilt fan, would you be satisfied with this as the dust settles of the 2026 college football season? We'll dive into that next.
It is 7:01. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Titans defensive coordinator Gus Bradley and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll spoke to the media for the first time as members of the Titans coaching staff yesterday. Daboll talked about why he's excited to have Cam as his quarterback and to be the Titans offensive coordinator.
This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to be. I like the vision that Saleh had, and I like the vision that Borgo had. And there's a good young quarterback that I felt very good about leading up to the draft. And I think he did a lot of good things last year. And look forward to trying to build off of that and maybe incorporate some things that he feels good about. But, April can't come soon enough.
Some other NFL news. The Seahawks, after winning Super Bowl 60, are officially up for sale as the estate of Paul Allen announced yesterday. Allen bought the team back in 1997 for $194 million. And now after 2 Super Bowl wins in the last decade or so, they'll be worth billions. And in college hoops last night, Tennessee handled Oklahoma in Knoxville, winning 89-66, led by freshman 4 Nate Ament with 29 points, 6 boards, a block, and a steal. Number 19 Vanderbilt, they took a close 81-80 loss to Missouri despite a 27-point performance from guard Tyler Tanner. And the Winter Olympics, the U.S. men's hockey team beat Sweden yesterday 2-1 thanks to Quinn Hughes' overtime winner. They'll now face Slovakia in the semifinals coming up tomorrow, Friday. And today, the U.S. women's hockey team, they face off against Canada in the gold medal game that starts around noon Central Time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 of your Friday Junior on Ramon and Will. Glad you are with us. Hope you're having a good start to your morning. Supposed to be beautiful today.
Yes, it is.
Gloomy right now, but in the 70s later today. Tempt me with a good time.
A bunch of runners outside right now over here by Music Circle, man.
Sure.
They're getting it in. That's anti-will talk right there. Running on concrete.
yeah, right. Don't do that. Don't run on concrete.
Don't run on concrete.
If you love your joints and you love your feet, don't run on concrete,
Don't do
please.
that.
Thanks. 615-737-1045. Coach Dave McGinnis joins us for a pre-NFL Combine visit in 15 minutes. But Ramon, On3 and Brett McMurphy have way too early college football bowl projections. This means very little in February.
Listen.
But I'm curious if you'd be satisfied with this for Tennessee in 2026.
I'm listening.
He's got the Vols in the Gator Bowl against SMU in Jacksonville.
Gator Bowl means minimum 8-9 wins, potentially, at that point, with the opportunity to get 10. That's a good SEC bowl.
As we sit here today, is that the expectation, you think, for Tennessee based on the roster they put together?
I'm going to be real with you. I know we're having a lot of conversation, rightfully so, about this quarterback situation with Joey Aguilar, which the judge still hadn't ruled on. Come on, man. I get it. You under pressure? He going to do a Friday dump, isn't he?
Austin Bryce said on Tuesday the best case scenario is probably by the end of the week.
He going to do a Friday dump.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, all right.
Especially if it's bad news for either side. Yeah, no, I would expect it. I have no inside knowledge, obviously, unless you are the judge, you have no clue, but tomorrow would make a ton of sense.
But to that point, though, when you look at the rest of this group offensively, wide receivers, check. That was one of our biggest question marks last year going into the season. There's 0 snaps, or it was only one player, I think Bradshaw, that had the most snaps out of everybody going into the season. Check that box this year. You don't have to worry about that. Tight end should be better, although I hate losing Jack Van Dorselaer. I liked him as a player, but they got 4 and 5 stars at those positions, a high 4 stars at the tight end position. Offensive line only had to replace the right tackle. David Sanders going over. I'm going through all this to say this. Running backs is set and solid as well. And they got depth, I think, in more spots than they did last year. Figuring out the quarterback situation is a huge issue, but the team in general should be better. Defensively, should check that box with Coach Jim Knowles and how he's going to go about teaching those guys and their expectation. We've heard a lot about the weight room and how the offseason training should be tougher, which means a tougher, better team, stronger team, faster team. So, yeah, Will, we're acting like I say this respectfully, we act like the Vols are on government assistance. Like, I know they're a state school, but they're not out here begging for handouts. Like, I have one concern, and that's D tackle, interior defensive tackle, depth. But this team should be very competitive and needs to win games. Like, I don't even say should, needs to win games, and I think they will. I think they're going to be more competitive than I think people will expect them to be with George or Joey, to be quite honest with you, because the sum of the means, I think, is greater than it was last year, and it's got more experience.
An 8-4 season with a bowl game versus a solid SMU program does feel about right as we sit here today. That probably, not to say Tennessee's going to be Indiana this year, but that probably also would have felt about right for Indiana entering last season. A trip to, respectfully, the Music City Bowl to take on a team like Tennessee was probably about right for them on paper. I say that not to compare Tennessee to the then national champion, but to say that I think it is harder than ever in college football to predict in February where teams are going to end up. Because on the same positive sense that Indiana exceeded their expectations a season ago, we talked all this time last year about how, on paper, Clemson might be the best team in college football.
Oh, my.
Their season ended in the Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State, who also, we thought, finally had things figured out.
Did.
If you told us Penn State was playing Clemson in the postseason, we would have been more likely to say that's the national championship game than that is the Pinstripe Bowl.
Let's walk down the list then, if you want to. Just lightly, just walk with me for a second. LSU was supposed to be better. Got
Same
one of
problem.
the most dynamic players in Barry and Brown out of Kentucky. They hit the portal. Garrett Nussmeier supposed to check this box. Florida. Oh, my. The way we heard about DJ Lagway, he was supposed to check that box. I know they had injuries, and their coach was a dud. South Carolina.
Auburn. Another team that had 8-9 win expectations. So, yes, while that is the expectation today for Tennessee, there is a wide range of what Tennessee football can be in 2026. As wide a range, Mermone, as maybe I can remember in a little while.
I personally am I'm excited about everybody else coming back outside of the quarterback as well. You know how many wide receiver questions we had last year, and can Kelsey Pope coach those guys up, and what are they going to be? I don't think we worried as much about the run game and the running backs, and those, to me, I think, even though they had a good year, wasn't as good as I think we expected it to be. So there's your point on, like, the projection of what we think of this season and how it's going to unfold. You continually bring up something I think is unique. I don't think anybody that's, whether you agree with the offense or not, should worry about the quarterback in Heupel's system.
Worry is a strong word. You're right. I don't know, man. I mean, considering it's potentially a redshirt freshman that's played 2 games, I think there's concern. There are questions that are very fair. But yeah, like it's never going to be terrible at quarterback for Tennessee.
Only reason I bring it up, so similar school. God, why is Sports Reference doing this? I'm trying to go to University of Texas's football this past year. Arch Manning was a redshirt freshman, correct? And that's where we're speaking about redshirt freshman.
Well, he was
a sophomore,
a straight up sophomore. Yeah,
he was a straight up sophomore.
61% completion, 3,100 yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 picks. Got a lot better as the season went.
But my point is this: second year in the program, didn't play a whole lot his freshman year. So technically, can we call it, for the sake of the conversation, he was basically a redshirt freshman, second-year player, same as George.
Well, I don't think he was the same as George, though, Ramon, because he played a lot more than George had going into last season. Like, his 2024 year was essentially what George is walking into this year, and he wasn't the starter in 2024. Quinn Ewers was.
So he did get to Texas in 23. So it's 2 games, 5 passes.
He played in 10 games in 2024.
Yes, he did.
As a redshirt freshman.
61 attempts, or 90 attempts as far as throwing. George doesn't have that much. My point is this.
Right.
His time in college is short-lived with the amount of experience that he had going into this big season of his. Now, here's the thing. Texas ended up 10-3 on the season. Were there a lot of ups and downs with Arch Manning? Yes. Did he figure it out over the course of playing through more? Yes.
Also, yes, right.
To your point, the team, I thought, was stronger, although it had its shortcomings in this 25 season of theirs. They had very high expectations, probably higher than the Vols. with a inexperienced quarterback, and they still reeled off 10 wins. My point I'm getting to is this. One, if it is George McIntyre, he's just got to go through it. Secondly, do you trust the talent? And I think Coach Heupel does, and a lot of us that's watched him play here in the Mid-State do as well. I'm not counting him out is my point, as far as him being the anchor holding them back.
Sure. The question, though, is that does Tennessee have time for him to go through it and still win games in the process? Texas did on defense.
They did.
Texas was still good enough on defense, even though they fired their defensive coordinator. They were still good enough around Arch Manning to win some games in the process of Arch Manning getting better. I can't guarantee that Tennessee's defense is going to immediately click under a new coaching staff and with a lot of new players. I hope it does. I think it could. I think Tennessee could be really good at defense this year, which is a crazy statement based on how many holes they had in that roster about 6 to 8 weeks ago.
No doubt.
I just can't guarantee anything with this football team because aside from wide receiver and running back, an offensive line, I'd say is going to be a strength. None of that really matters if they don't get the right play at quarterback or if the defense doesn't come together. Like, I don't know what this team is great at on defense yet. We're going to find out.
We most definitely are going to find out.
But they have so many new pieces and new parts and new players. Like, they have no identity yet for them to hang their hat on.
But they got a high portal rusher, right?
Chaz Coleman.
Really good linebackers.
But again, even Chaz Coleman, like, he hasn't done it yet.
That's true.
He's projectable. He's an athlete. He's got raw ability.
You know what it sounds like?
The numbers aren't there yet.
David Bailey to me. I know it's more years in college.
David Bailey had 8.5 sacks his last year at Stanford before he went to Texas Tech.
What I'm looking at is this, but then he exploded. Like we
Right,
expect
but he was a
the
veteran.
talent to be there. What I don't want to happen is us minimizing the talent that we know brought in.
It's
Are there
talent.
deficiencies?
It's not proven production.
But none of this is until they go out and do it as well. Like the same goes for James Pierce Jr. when he was at Tennessee. Like the talent know is there.
That's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
I mean more so, there are other teams with transfer portal additions who've done it before. A lot of these Tennessee players, not all of them, but talking about the front four in general, hasn't done it before.
Understood. And again, to your point that we spoke about earlier about these projections, it still has to come together and be coached up well for those other teams that's got proven guys at those positions, and you got to escape injuries and everything else in between.
I do think Brett McMurphy does Vandy a disservice within this piece. He does not have them as a bowl team entering the 2026 season.
Well, hold up. Say that again.
Brett McMurphy at On3, we're talking about the way too early bowl projections, does not have Vandy as a bowl team entering the 2026 season.
That's crazy. With Jared Curtis coming in as well, is that the step back that they're taking with a true freshman?
That is the question. How does Jared Curtis step in and perform relative to just the baseline Saturday after Saturday performances that Diego Pavia gave you?
That's fair.
Big questions on offensive line for Vandy. The Pitt transfer, Lyndon Cooper, his ability to step right in for Jordan White. Their new quick tackle for North Dakota State, Bo Johnson. Like the good thing about always being old is that on the offensive line, you're always old. You have grown men. You got dudes playing against 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. The problem is those guys are so old, you got to keep finding them every offseason. You've got to keep hitting on your evaluations up front on the offensive and defensive lines. It's great always having veteran players, but it puts a lot of pressure and stress on you to get that right every offseason because a lot of those players are one-year rentals.
No doubt.
A lot of them are.
Okay, so looking at the Vanderbilt schedule, we'll have to go through this. Yeah, it's a little challenging.
It was last year on paper, too. And then all of a sudden, Missouri wasn't what we thought they'd be. LSU wasn't what they thought they'd be. Tennessee at the end of the season wasn't what we thought they'd be. And Texas wasn't even, and they almost come back to beat Texas. Like, a lot of questions for Vandy. I think having them, though, off of making a bowl game is harsh. I think it's very harsh. Coach Tay McGinnis joins us coming up next. Titans Radio's head coach gets you ready for the NFL Draft and NFL Combine after this. Ramona Will live on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Talking with Titans Radio's head coach ahead of the NFL Combine next week. All of our visits with Coach Dave McGinnis, presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Mack, I'm looking forward to heading up to Indy with you next weekend.
Doing well, Ramon. It's a busy time up there.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely is. Busy time in the facility, I would imagine, right now, Mack. How much film are front office executives watching around the league right now? Are you just kind of like locking yourself in rooms and just having a bender of football, Mack, at this time of year?
Yeah, well, you heard the two coordinators press conferences yesterday, and they pretty much laid out what's going on right now. Their day is really full. With the morning, talking about the roster that they have, and then in the afternoon, going over all the free agents and clearly the draft. I mean, it's full days for those guys, and especially with the new staff. I've been involved in that several times with the new staff, and I mean, you just basically lock yourself in the room, and you've got to start grinding. And you got to start grinding on personnel on all sides of it.
Mack, I thought that was interesting from Brian Daboll specifically yesterday about teaching terminology, how they want to teach certain things on the practice field, understanding what's the terminology for identifying a double team or for making some changes and things like that. How long does that process take, Mack, in kind of coaching your coaches, maybe those who have worked with you before, maybe those like Luke Stocker and Randy Jordan who are holdovers from the previous staff? What is that process like, Mack, today for Brian Daboll and Gus Bradley as they set that foundation for their assistant coaches?
Yeah, Will, they laid it out pretty clear. I mean, language is the first thing that you have to be able to all get on the same page with, and if you do that, I mean, it just takes time, because no matter how experienced everybody is, you all come from, even though it's similar backgrounds, you have to get everybody on the same language, because that's the only way that you can start teaching really efficiently and really quickly. And plus, you need some consistency with your players too, as far as the way you're calling things, the way, because they've got to make a switch too. And so that's extremely important. I thought it was very, very enlightening for people that have never been around it yesterday. Those guys are very open about what you have to do, but it's a huge, huge part of it. I mean, you go over it line by line. I mean, I've put together a lot of playbooks in my time, and you go over it line by line and be sure that everybody understands when we call this here at this place, this is what we mean.
No doubt about it. We're joined by Coach Mack this morning talking a little ball. Mack, I thought it was very detailed in how Coach Daboll and also Coach Gus Bradley, man, put an emphasis on giving guys a fair shake whenever they go into the building, not prejudging anybody. Coach Mack, no matter what their last year's tape is, they're going to take those guys at face value. Mack, how important is that to the dudes inside of the locker room to know that you have a fair chance and giving a great impression to these new coaches, whole new staff that is coming in?
Well, I mean, you've got to follow through with it. It can't just be lip service. And you could tell that they're very sincere about it, because that's really the only way to start fresh when you come into someplace new. I mean, the preconceived notions can be very, very dangerous, and so you have to figure all of that out face to face with the people that you are with now, Ramon. I mean, you know that you've been through some coaching changes in your playing career, and players can tell really quick about you talk about a fair shake. They can tell pretty quick about how it's going to go down. And the thing with an experienced staff, they understand the value of that. And I think you heard that yesterday, and I agree with you. It's extremely important. And as a former player, that is paramount knowing that going in fresh that you have a chance, and there's not going to be anything in the past that's going to be held against you as long as you're able to come out and start to prove yourself to a new group.
No doubt. Well, Mack, up in Indianapolis next week, there's a lot of proving to be done. One question I have about this new era in which we're watching college football go to is the age side of it, Coach Mack. A good bit of these guys are coming out, older than 23. I used to think that was the prime age for guys coming out is 21, 22 years old. It was usually your introduction to the NFL. I know coaches that love those young 20-year-olds where they do that 3 years and they come in the league as a young 20-year-old. Does the age side of it, Mack, in those interviews account for much at the combine moving forward, or is just the coaches and teams have to adjust as well as guys continue to go back to college for that extra year?
Yeah, the dynamics have changed a lot, Ramon. You're 100% correct. Those dynamics, those parameters have changed a lot. I mean, there's two things that have changed this, quite a bit. First of all, it's the extended eligibility that people are getting now. That's and then the transfer portal changes a whole lot too. And to me, it's just a different world now as far as your preconceived notions about age. I mean, look at some of the players that came in last year as older players. Take Tyler Shuck, for instance, down there in New Orleans. That was an older quarterback that that came in and did fairly well. When he got a chance. I think the mindset of front offices has changed a lot too, with what's going on with that. I mean, you're 100% right. You just can't pigeonhole somebody because of age. You just can't anymore because all those dynamics have changed so much.
Coach Dane McGinnis, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford with us this morning on Ramon and Will. Mack, as you are meeting with and watching workouts for edge rushers and linebackers at the NFL Combine, for you as a coach, what do you want to see from them either on the field or in the meeting room to feel good about your evaluation at that position specifically?
Well, you want to see how your film work matches up with, that's the one thing that that I miss now in my role is that I don't get to go face to face with these players anymore. That's the one thing that I miss, and that's what I used to really enjoy is being able to match up the personality with what I think I see on tape. That's extremely important. Some of the dynamics don't change when some of the traits that you look for, and you can't just pigeonhole people on certain traits either. I mean, you got to take everybody at their. You talk about taking people at their face value. That's what you have to do. And so, I mean, it's just, and plus, in this day and age of the NFL, there's no one size fits all. I mean, we've seen that so many times. You just can't. You can't pigeonhole somebody, just because of certain size, weight, whatever. I mean, the first thing you look at is you look at the tape and say, how does he play football? How would he relate to what we're doing here? And then sit down and match that person with what you believe you've seen on tape. I mean, and again, that's where experience comes in. You have to be able to draw on past experiences and not just, not form an opinion before you have all the information.
Mack, we're going to get into more, obviously, as draft season goes, the position-by-position previews, and we'll get more into the weeds on edge rushers, of course, as we go. But I was curious to ask more about something Gus Bradley said yesterday about the two different types of defensive ends within this system, and a guy that can maybe be bigger on one end and move inside on third downs, and then maybe your traditional outside linebacker that's going to rush the passer from the outside and maybe be more of a quick guy on the other end. How different does that evaluation have to be, Mack? And what are you looking for when you compare the likes of maybe a Reuben Bain Jr. who could fit on one side of this defensive line, but also, as Gus Bradley talks about yesterday, a David Bailey type of edge rusher who also has a place within this system? It seems like they're looking for two very different types at defensive end kind of simultaneously, Mack.
Yeah, well, I mean that goes with the 4-3 defense, and you're talking about, I mean, if you want to start talking, get a little deeper into ball, you're talking about somebody that can play on a 3-man surface and somebody that plays on a 2-man surface. The 2-man surface usually comes to the open side where there's only 2 people, and that way it's more of a speed space player. The 3-man surface guy is a guy that's the power guy over there to the tight end side. I knew exactly what he was talking about because I've coached a lot of 4-3 defense in my time, and that's why it's extremely important to be able to match up certain types of what you want to do. I mean, I understood perfectly, what he was saying. And it makes a huge difference. And some people that run a 4-3, that guy that's playing on that 3-man surface, then can kick inside sometimes when you're going altered fronts. But you always want to keep the guy on the 2-man surface out there in space because that's your longer player that can work a little bit. There's more free space to work on a 2-man surface. So I understood exactly what he was saying.
Coach Mack, Coach Gus Bradley did bring up the conversation that he and Coach Robert Saleh will have, as he's the defensive coordinator, but Coach Saleh will end up calling the plays on game day. And Mack, how much of that happens across the league as far as coaches having input on the play caller's ability to have an opinion on game day? Is that common for the most part, Mack?
Depends on what kind of relationship you have.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's important. These two guys have worked together. Yeah. I mean, and so, clearly it sounded like that. And the thing that has to happen is, I mean, both of these guys have been coordinators, but you have to have there's one head coach, all right, and then the other guy understands his role. But the closer the relationship is, Ramon, the easier that is because you've done it together. During the heat of ball games, and that's extremely, extremely important because, I mean, there's a big difference in talking about it and being able to have experienced it, when the heat's on during game time. And clearly these guys have a history with one another, and it sounds like that, especially Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley, understands exactly who the head coach is, and that's very important.
Coach Mack, I will say this. I was impressed with both those coordinators yesterday, Daboll and also Coach Gus Bradley, not really giving much expectations to the job. They just pretty much said it's a watch and see evaluation for themselves, for the players, and also for the fan base as well, Coach Mack. I think that was probably one of the best things I took away from the press. From their press conferences yesterday is there was no overpromising. And in that coaching world, like I know, Coach Mack, that's probably the best place to be at is good old coach speak and getting back to your office, Matt.
Yeah, well, they're both experienced coaches, and they understand. They're not brand new in their jobs, and so they understand. The pitfalls of overloading rhetoric.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell they're ball coaches, but they're very systematic. And to me, that's extremely, extremely important. I mean, you could just tell, and you're right, listening to them. I mean, if you never even knew their pedigree, you could tell that they had a lot of experience.
No doubt.
Coach Dave McGinnis joins us Thursdays at 7:20, presented by Two Rivers Ford. Titans Radio hitting the road next week at the NFL Combine. Mack, looking forward to it, and we will see you next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate both of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There he is, Coach Mack, joining us this morning, talking some Titans.
Yeah, he was. And he knows these coaches, specifically, I think, Coach Gus Bradley pretty well. So I know their conversations that they'll have up in Indianapolis next week is like two old friends getting back together, man. I'm excited to see what this looked like, especially Mack's involvement with it as well, as far as what he'll be able to tell us on Thursdays during the season.
It is interesting in hearing more about the types at edge rusher. Because when Gus Bradley started that answer, and we'll play it coming up here in a few minutes, I was like, oh, okay, Ruben Bain Jr., here we go. Get the card ready. No. And then he finished the answer. And then on the other side, you have maybe more your quote-unquote true pass rusher. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, never mind. All right. Don't put it in Sharpie. Put it in erasable ink or just pencil. For either David Bailey or Ruben Bain Jr. I wanted hints, Ramon, and I thought we had a hint.
We did at first.
And then there wasn't really much of it.
I ain't going to lie. He got us in the first half. In the first half of that answer, I will not lie. He had me cooked. I was like, well, Ruben Bain Jr., we're good to go.
Yeah, that's right.
But it speaks also, I think, in the direction we expect him to go to in free agency. It might be more of a play for, Bradley Chubb. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the types of things you're going to be looking for. If you look at San Francisco's model, when you look at DeForest Buckner, like the type of player that he was, and I'm not sure how long he played under Robert Saleh, but those are the things you're getting into. Who's the defensive end? Eric Armstead. Mm-hmm. It's another type. I also was thinking, do you see more of Jeffrey Simmons as a defensive end, moving to a D tackle role? You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on personnel and stuff like that, Jeff's rushed outside. Jeff's won.
We saw it a good bit this past year.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the body transformation for him could reap huge benefits.
Well, Jeffrey Simmons being on the front seven is why, to me, corner is still the bigger need.
Yeah. Defensively or just in totality for this team?
Just in totality. I think corner is their biggest hole.
He didn't give an answer on that as well.
No, he didn't.
Gus Bradley, he did not give an answer on that. It was a masterclass of coach speak yesterday.
I thought it was good.
He told
it was
them,
really good.
Said, I can give you that answer, but I'd much rather give it to our scouts. And I'll tell them on the film, this is what we're looking for, et cetera, et cetera. Therefore, we can pick it apart, and I appreciate that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Some of the time I be hearing people say stuff or do their analysis of what coaches said, and there's always a gotcha moment. I feel like Brian Callahan was very open.
He gave a lot away.
And they put him in some gotcha moments from our perspective as being in the press. Like, well, you did say you were going to do this. And, stuff changes.
615-737-1045 on this morning's Olympic Minute, hockey taking center stage. The U.S. men with an electric win yesterday afternoon, and the women with a chance to play for gold today. We'll tell you what you need to know coming up next. Are high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances? It's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity in your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto. In a matter of days, they had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact and didn't even need an appraisal. With all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2-car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com. Their rapid equity loan program can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Chloe and Ethan just did it. It consolidated all their high interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine, pay off all the credit cards, slash your monthly payments, breathe easier, get your life back. Interest rates are at 3-year lows. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780 at LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. All right, we mentioned at the top of the show, yesterday was an outstanding sports day.
Yeah.
And when this song played in overtime of the USA's 2-1 win over Sweden yesterday, a collective was let go across these 50 states. USA 2, Sweden 1. This was so much fun, Ramon.
Yeah, it was.
But in the moment, it was so much not fun. It was so stressful. I was telling Peyton this yesterday. I've just learned about myself, and it's not breaking news, and many of you are in the same boat. I just love USA sports, especially these big mainstream team sports that you get in a stage like this, especially considering the way Four Nations went last year, where the U.S. was robbed by Jordan Bennington in overtime of a couple point-blank chances and lost the Four Nations face-off to Canada a season ago. I want revenge on Canada.
On everybody.
And my goodness, that was in jeopardy for both the Canadians, going to overtime with Czechia yesterday, and then for the U.S. against Sweden after Mika Zibanejad equalized with 91 seconds left. Electric hockey yesterday as the U.S. moves on to the semifinal.
My wife and I sat around and had it on, watching a little bit yesterday as well, man. I will say Sweden, of course, I'm going to say this, Captain Obvious here, but Sweden wanted that. Sweden fought for that one. It was almost a few dust-ups in that game, too, and did I realize yesterday, and you told me 2 days ago, you can get ejected and you're done for the game if you fight. Yeah. But they got real handsy up in the face area in a couple of those breaks, man. To score the way they did also, to go up 1-0 out of the, what was that? You call that a face-off? I think that's what it was.
Scored on the face-off.
Scored on the face-off was super dope.
Dylan Larkin with the tip.
But talented, fun, they're fighting. Like, not literally, but like the fight to win, you're seeing it in the way they skate on that ice, man.
I let out such an involuntary as the puck went in to win it. Like, I've not yelled like that at a TV. It was like, I looked at myself like, what just happened? It was so much fun. Really what I was yelling was like, Quinn Hughes, get off the ice. Because Quinn Hughes waved off a sub from the bench in this overtime period. And literally, as they were going back for the last face-off of the game, with his right hand is telling him, like, no, I'm staying on. Yeah. Like, dude, like, 3-on-3, you change just when you can, because you can get caught out on the ice for a very long period of time, considering the risk it takes in making a change. And then if you make it at the wrong time, it's a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-0. I mean, you have at times, like, the risk reward of making line changes at the right time is so significant when you get into 3-on-3 like this. And I was worried that he was going to be too tired by the end of his shift. He scored at the end of his shift to end the game and picked up an assist in the process as well. Quinn Hughes' 5th assist in 4 games at the Olympics, ties Brian Leach in 2002 for the most assists by an American defenseman in an Olympic tournament with NHL participation. This was the Quinn Hughes game.
It was. I'm looking at something right now on CBS Sports. They're speaking of it as well, and they got a whole just section, the Quinn Hughes effect, and it goes like this. Hughes skates so well in such a high awareness that he's rarely out of position defensively. Said on the rare occasion he's on his back foot, he has the ability to recover and no damage is done.
He's so quick. Yeah,
it's 5'10", 180 pounds. Like, he's good in every situation.
Yes,
that's essentially why I guess he waved off his subs coming in. He wasn't going to be denied. I mean, you watch him, and I'll say this. That's what's so unique about the way NHL is doing the nations situation, too, because it does come down to, like, country pride, and that's what this is as well. And I was looking at the pregame as the Kachuk brothers.
Yeah, St. Louis's finest.
Yeah, their father speaking on, either come home with the gold or I'm writing you out of the wheel. Like, there's a bunch of that's going on.
They play like it, too.
And they did.
Yeah.
Boy, they get to it, man. And the experience that all of them have going on to this team, I thought was super dope. They got a chance.
Yeah, great chance.
Yeah. No doubt about it. But it was fun watching it and see everybody be super excited. What's the name of that song you played coming back right there, too, Hall?
Oh, come on.
What?
I don't know the name of it.
What do you mean?
I'll give you the artist. It's Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner? What is it, Golden Eagle or something like that?
What are we doing? Oh, my goodness. I don't even know what to think
Surrender
anymore.
Cobraing live on the radio.
Oh, my goodness. Come
It's
on.
Freebird.
Freebird.
You ever been to a bar and try to pay a band $100 saying Freebird? Freebird.
My bars don't use it.
Most bars are, what is it? Most bands around Nashville have a $50 minimum to play Freebird.
Well, yeah,
you got to tip them $50 for them to play that song.
Is
Is it? I just shoot a dub to the DJ and have him play Trap or Die by Young Jeezy. Like, that's my style.
Oh, my goodness. I cannot
I'm so
believe you
disappointed.
right now.
What? That's me. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Was that on Guitar Hero as well?
Yeah. Demerits. It was the
You get
song.
all the demerits.
It was the song to play on Guitar Hero. So if you were really
I'm so
good at Guitar
serious.
Hero, you played Freebird on expert mode.
Okay.
And the solo is like 3 minutes just on its own.
I know it as a patriot, okay?
What? You cannot say that right there.
I just did, okay? Like,
Anybody.
I know it
Oh,
now.
my goodness.
Freebird, not Golden Eagle. Leonard Skinner.
Jeez
Can
Louise.
we? I need to make Cronin. People can hear you. This is on video. People can hear you.
Are you getting loud with me, bro?
Yeah, Ramon. People can hear you say you didn't know what Freebird was.
Two worlds right here, man. That's all I'm saying. Two Americas. My God, John, just text me right now, bruh.
I know.
Like literally everybody in America right
I'm
now
stunned.
saying, who are you and what is your problem?
I'm stunned.
I'm a learner.
What I am doing is, I'm going to make this about me. I'm banking this moment for the next time I do not understand a reference because I am only 28 years old. The next time I've not seen a movie that everyone's seen or we're talking about it, I'm banking this moment right now. I could go way, way harder. Pause. I could go way deeper into my criticism of this lack of knowledge. I'm going to hold back and bank this moment for later.
My bad,
crazy,
y'all. I don't know ball as good as I should.
It is an
know.
electric goal song, though. It is fantastic.
Now I want to go find somebody playing Guitar Hero on X mode to see how good they do. Expert
It's
mode.
so hard to
Is
do.
it hard to do?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Very difficult.
Yeah,
Listen,
it is.
I usually play it
is.
on beginner mode.
My dubs go to Young Jeezy, Rick Ross. Not even that's my lane.
See, I can do
That's
both.
Gucci Mane.
When you
The
ask
boss,
that
Rick Ross, yo,
All right,
MIA.
Bricks. I can ask for that one. Okay. I can
Yeah.
ask for Bricks by Gucci Mane. Lemonade. I got that one.
All right.
When you ask that
we don't need
question,
to
this is what I thought.
Worst question I've ever been asked.
Literally the worst question. So, real quick, going back to the Quinn Hughes conversation, he averages the most time on ice in the NHL. So that's why he's one of the most conditioned and smooth skaters on the ice on a night in, night out basis. Averages 27 minutes and 51 seconds per night. So, of course, he's going to wave him off because he knows he can last. That was all I was going to say before we got in this whole Freebird Golden Eagles conversation. Jeez.
4-game assist streak for Quinn Hughes, now the longest run by an American player in an Olympics, featuring NHLers. He has also tied Nicholas Lindstrom in 02 for Sweden for the longest assist streak by a defenseman in an Olympics with NHL players. Electric. Totally electric. So now the U.S. moves on to a Friday 2 p.m. date with Slovakia. The 9th-ranked team in the world, they only have 7 NHL players. The U.S., as the 2 seed, kind of lucked into the easier matchup here. Slovakia better in pool play. Finland gets Canada. And the other semifinal, our old friend UC Saros. Not really old friend, our current friend, UC Saros. I hope Canada wins.
Okay.
Canada, because I want to beat them ourselves.
Take that, Zeph.
I have no, Joseph
right.
Bonanno from 3HL. See, I'm going to be the change I want to see in the
There you
world,
go,
Joseph.
dog.
From 3HL. That's the name of the
producer
afternoon show.
dude on that show.
Canadian. I hope your team wins so we can kick your butt.
And Sidney Crosby got hurt yesterday, so
He did.
that's something
He's
to monitor.
not out for the tournament, according to John
Man,
Cooper.
Father Time.
Yeah, we'll see.
Today, USA Canada. Speaking of beating Canada, the U.S. women beat Canada 5-0 in pool play. They will play Canada for the 7th time in Olympic gold medal game history. Coming up later today, this one around noon. The U.S. women have not allowed a goal in 331 straight minutes of hockey. Ramon. Yeah,
Dominant.
wagon. They are a wagon. The U.S. women's hockey team. I expect nothing short of domination. 615-737-1045. Gus Bradley, what do you want your defense to be known for? Hear his answer coming up next.
Come on, dude.
8:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Titans defensive coordinator Gus Bradley and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll spoke to the media for the first time yesterday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Daboll talked about why he's comfortable with having Cam Ward as a QB1.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with Cam. His ability to throw the football, his athleticism. Everybody's a little bit different in their drops. Everybody's a little different with their throwing motion. But I'm excited to work with this young man.
In other NFL news, the Seahawks, after winning Super Bowl 60, are officially up for sale, as the estate of Paul Allen announced yesterday. Allen bought the team back in 1997 for $194 million, and now after 2 Super Bowl wins, the team will be worth billions. And in college hoops news, Tennessee handled Oklahoma in Knoxville last night, winning 89-66, led by freshman forward Nate Ament with 29 points, 6 boards, a block, and a steal. Number 19 Vanderbilt, they took a close 81-80 loss to Missouri, despite a 27-point performance from Tyler Tanner. In the Winter Olympics in Italy, the U.S. men's hockey team yesterday beat Sweden 2-1 thanks to an overtime winner by Quinn Hughes. And now they'll face Slovakia in the semifinals coming up tomorrow. And today, the U.S. women's hockey team, they face off against Canada in the gold medal game, which starts around noon Central Time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the second half of your Thursday morning. Welcome in. Good morning. Ramona Will on your radios and smart devices, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, youtube.com/1045 The Zone TV. You can join the hundreds streaming us live each and every morning. And if you are there and watching, odds are there are many of you who are not yet subscribed to the 1045 The Zone YouTube channel, so we'd love for you to do that. Yeah. Doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't sign you up for anything. Just helps us. And if you like us, you want to help us. Ramon is going through a uniquely American experience during the commercial break. You have been watching the 1977 Leonard Skinner Freebird guitar solo live from a big stadium. Where was this recorded, Ramon?
Oakland, California, 1977.
Gosh.
At the Oakland Coliseum. And it's an 11-minute video. I do get it. I do get it. Hey, I don't know the fella's name, but Leonard Skinner is out there shredding. Do you hear me? Guitars on the stage inside
Plural.
of a packed
Guitars.
Coliseum. And not just that. Will and I was just listening. I played the background for Will. I say, you know what? Them shredding these guitars and bouncing like this sound like an old Baptist church in the South. They getting to it. All you needed was a couple hallelujahs.
And we need that.
And we need that. Bless it. Like, oh my gosh. They were getting to it, man.
You understand now why bands require a minimum tip in order to play Freebird at live bars.
Absolutely. What an era. Looking at people on shoulders, no
Iconic.
phones up doing concerts.
Vibing.
Yeah,
just enjoying life.
To the artist. And I'm over here looking at the guitarist playing. I'm like, well, get a drummer some. And he back there just getting it with big hair, shirts off, and beer everywhere. Lord.
Sounds like a good time, doesn't it?
It does. We need to get back to that. Start putting your phones.
It's why it's the U.S. gold song, or the gold song.
Listen,
the Olympics.
You remember when concerts were concerts? You know what I'm saying? That's what that was to me. Put somebody up on your shoulder. Next time you go to a concert at the Stone or at Nissan, just put somebody on your shoulders. I don't even care about the weight requirement. Put them on your
I've
shoulders.
seen a lot of TikToks recently of like, these boys need to stop trying to rap and get back in the garage.
Man.
Make me my own worst enemy.
Give me something. You know what I'm saying? I will.
Give me If Everyone Cared by Nickelback. Come on.
Everybody.
Let's get to it.
I love a good artist. I don't care where the music come from. One of the best, and I know it's Savages as well, but Scarface. Brad Jordan is his name. He plays every instrument. He's a rapper as well, too. But it's super awesome to watch people be artists instead of just hitting the DJ button and playing music.
Yesterday, Gus Bradley, Titans defensive coordinator, spoke to the media and was asked, what do you want your defense to be known for? He answered with this.
Well, the pitcher is a fast and violent defense, so, it's. I don't think you're going to see 45 different coverages, 50 different blitzes. If we can do that and still play fast and violent, we'll do it, but not at the expense of one of those two. So I think it's very important that our players go out there. We've always had a defense that we felt like guys could come in early in their stage, early in their career and play, and we want to keep that part of it open. But the game is evolving. I mean, what it looked like 5 years ago to what it is now, is completely different. So to have those adjustables, the things that you need in the coverage principles and pressures is important. We're growing in that area, but always with that in the back of our mind, never at the expense of being fast and violent.
Fast and violent, Ramon. When you have played against defenses like that, and to be fair, every defensive coordinator wants to describe their defense in the same way. Fast, violent, we're going to be aggressive. What stands out to you on playing a Gus Bradley defense? Ramon, on blocking against a 4-3 defense, what does that practically look like on the football field?
You never get a playoff as an offense. They want to be the tone setters more than you set the pace for them. If you got an offense that's going against one of those defenses, you better be very mature as a team, as a unit. You better have a quarterback that's got poise, because the blitz of what they're doing, not the actual blitzing of players or corners, right, or safeties, but the blitz of them never stopping and attacking you is something that if you ever let them get you, as Coach Mack like to say, on your back foot, on your left foot, you'll never catch up. It's a guessing game and hope as an offense that you can reset yourselves, or, hey, you'll find there's been times I've been attacked like this, and in my playing career in Pittsburgh is you'll have to go to the sideline as an offense and say, we got to find something that's going to work and stick to it. And that might just mean basic zone right, zone left, getting the ball out of the quarterback hands quick. But it also prohibits you from really opening up the offense, because you know that pressure's going to be applied at all times. And those dinking and dunkings only go so far if you don't got the players that's going to make plays for you, or if the defense just say, well, keep you in front and let you kick field goals. That's what it does, man. I can point out the defenses almost to a T of the guys I've seen. I remember specifically going against the 2019 San Francisco 49ers. It was nonstop. Offensively, you get something going, then a turnover happens. I can think about, what was it, that 2015 or 2016 Denver Broncos team when you had Malik Jackson and Derek Wolfe and DeMarcus Ware on that team, and it just never stopped. I can go to the 2017-18 Jacksonville Jaguars. Those teams just never stopped.
You're describing a lot of Gus Bradley defenses here.
Am I really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, legitimately,
yeah.
Like, I can think about those teams and how they attack you. I can go to, let's go like the 2017, like, Chargers. Like, might be off on my years, but, like, those teams never stop. And it's worse if you can get ahead of the chains on them. If you go 2nd and 9, it's going to be hell to pay, especially if you ain't got a poised enough quarterback to be able to stand in the pocket, take a hit, and deliver the football. That's the only thing that softens those teams up, is if you can hit them with a chunk play, and they usually don't allow it.
2019 49ers was a Robert Saleh defense. 2017 Jags, to your point, or 2016 Jags, Robert Saleh was the linebackers coach that year. 2017, it was Todd Wash, who was the DC, who was a Pete Carroll disciple coming from Seattle as the D-line coach there. So you're describing the exact systems the Titans are about to play. We did mention this earlier, talking about the difference between edge rushers, defensive ends, how on one side of the defensive line you're looking for one type, and the other side of the defensive line you're looking for another. This was Gus Bradley on that yesterday.
From those two positions and how different one side might look from the other.
You know what, I think that just talking in general terms, I think that one end is maybe an end on 1st and 2nd down, and then might have the ability to slide inside on 3rd down, where the other end is maybe a true rusher. He's on the end, edge, 1st and 2nd down, and 3rd down as well.
And in the dirt most of the time?
That's what we're looking at, all those things right now. What's the best for our personnel? And, we're in the beginning stages of just looking at that big picture.
Okay, so Reuben Bain Jr. is definitely a scheme fit. But also, so is David Bailey.
He is. If you can get both, you love him. Basically, is what he's saying, and it's a matter of picking and choosing. I will say he did give an answer for I think, roster personnel on that one without giving it. I'm not sure how many of these defensive ends on this current team, Jihad Ward.
Yeah,
maybe?
Jihad Ward, he's not under contract, but
He's not yet.
he would fit the criteria of a bigger defensive lineman who can move in on third down.
Yeah, you don't really have many of those on this team, which kind of gets highlights draft potentially, but more specifically, what they're going to be looking for in free agency. You might see, and I think it's probably true, more defensive signings. That's just me projecting.
They have more holes on defense, Ramon, than offense.
do.
Offense sells tickets, but they don't have corners.
No.
They don't have any. I mean, like Marcus Harris is Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince, standing in the room looking around. Like there's nobody there.
Right.
And they have edge rushers. They need more of them. They have D linemen. They need more of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they don't have any corners. I don't think this has been talked about enough.
I mean, both of them for that matter. I mean,
like, they have time to find them, obviously. Like, it's not like they're going to go out there without corners on their roster. Like, they've got to sign them and they got to draft them. But also, like, that goes to show, again, there's so much work to be done on this defense. And it's not just because you have a defensive head coach. It's what's been left for that defensive head coach. Like, there are more question marks in the immediate future to be answered on defense than there are on offense.
it is, and to your point, like I know we're talking a lot about what Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh can do for Cam Ward, but to your point, that side of the ball needs to be stitched together first.
Big time.
Big time.
Big time. Coming up, SEC basketball had a day last night. 2 players scoring over 45 points. Some comeback wins, one near comeback win. Vandy missed a half-court shot from Tyler Tanner, and they were down by 21 with 8 minutes left. They had a half-court shot rim out at the buzzer against Missouri. Oh, and yeah, Nate Ament scored 29. Dane Bradshaw of ESPN and the SEC Network talks about all of that with us coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors. Man, to tell you about my friends at Jewel Roofing, man, they're really good at their job. I wouldn't endorse them if I didn't think they were. They're a trusted family-owned Middle Tennessee company that's been serving from Clarksville to Murfreesboro for over 25 years. They're local in your community, and they care about this community as well. They're not trying to oversell you on something you don't need, not trying to get you to file your insurance, because they're getting up on your roof and saying something that you can't tell, and you don't know if they're being honest and upfront with you. No, absolutely not. That's not how Jewel Roofing do business. They want to make sure that you can trust them. They'll tell you up front, you'll either need us now if there's something that's going on in a major way, or they want to give you the trust that you'll need them later, and that's the company that you want to call, and they're first and top of your list. If you're concerned about your roof and you don't know how you can afford it, well, they can help you through all of that process and give you a clear estimate with no surprise fees or anything that can cause you to question what they're doing. They got flexible financing options as well. I'm here to tell you, for a roofer that you can trust, it's not into the high-pressure tactics, door knocking, or storm chasing. Reach out to the company I trust, and it's Jewel Roofing, man. You can call them at 615-868-9999 or go to their website at jewelroofing.com. That's Jewel Roofing with 2 L's.com.
So sometimes when you plan ahead in booking the radio show, you get gifts. Timing works out really well. And SEC basketball had a night last night, which makes this a perfect morning to talk some SEC hoops. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling, joined by SEC Network's ESPN's former Tennessee Vol, Dane Bradshaw, this morning. Dane, what was in the water in the SEC last night? Good morning.
Seriously.
Man, what a wild night it was in the league. And every time you change the channel, something else crazy was happening. It was a good time to have that YouTube TV split screen, quad screen, all that stuff going on, because it was a wild night. And usually you kind of go through the dog days of February. Everybody's like, all right, not a whole lot to talk about. How can we just speed this thing up to the conference tournament at this point? But there were a lot of incredible individual performances and just clutch plays and close nail biters, as you mentioned.
It was unbelievable. I want to start at Tuscaloosa, Dane. 117-115, Alabama over Arkansas. 49 points from Darius Acuff Jr. LeBarian Philon dropped 35 as an afterthought in this game. What impressed you about Alabama in this game, Dane, kind of starting on the winning side as they get a major, major home win last night?
Well, I think their ability to, I guess, overcome the first half defense. It's not like they became a terrific defensive team in the second half, but they gave up 57 in the first, and I think Acuff had 26 maybe. So it's not like that they shut them down by any means, but they weathered the storm, and just by getting it into overtime and then a second overtime. And what happened was Arkansas was playing with a very short-handed lineup. They're not a deep rotation team anyway, but their 8th and 9th man both were out of the game. And then once they started getting multiple guys in foul trouble and then fouling out, ultimately there were two guys, and I call Arkansas games. There were two guys I've never even heard of or had on my chart that were ending the game in double overtime for Arkansas because of the foul trouble.
Wow.
And so it was and they didn't do bad, but that was just the attrition and the depth factor that ultimately came into play. And Alabama hit a huge shot. Millette hit a big corner three, and a lot of that, I do think that that specific defensive breakdown happened between a couple guys that just hadn't played in the game all season long, and so ultimately the depth is what separated winner and loser there.
When you look at the way that game ended, I mean, that was almost a simple putback dunk to take it back to, take it to a third overtime as well. Dane, when you look at this group, man, in general, there's one particular player that stood out, even in a loss. Well, there's a few players that stood out. Darius Acuff Jr. has to be considered one of the best, if not National Player of the Year. Is he in that conversation as well as he reeled off, 49 points yesterday?
I think it would be somewhat of a long shot for National Player of the Year, just given the fact of what all the other great performances have been out there with guys like Boozer and others, but and Fleming, but look, he's making a name for himself, and it's not like him just putting together one or two good weeks in a row. I mean, this pattern is continuing, and really going into the game, I had him trailing just by a hair Thomas Houck of Florida for National Player of the Year, just because I value best player on the best team and the things that Houck does for his team, making them so big by playing the three. But I was really curious to see how Acuff would do on the road, where Arkansas has been okay, not great, and against some of the best competition. And even though Alabama's not a very good defensive team, Acuff put on a show. The other thing that's going to go unnoticed, but shouldn't, he played 50 minutes and had one turnover. One turnover.
Wow.
I mean, the guy is just so smart. You can't speed him up. Has a great IQ, loves the big shot and the big moment. He hit a massive three that they needed when they were down three to force, I believe, either the first or second overtime. And then late, he missed a floater where they missed a tip in, as you mentioned. But look, the kid's really good. And people talk about wanting to be a three-level scorer. Very few can do it. He's great at the rim. He's so good with his mid-range, and then he can hit the three. And he's just He makes the game look so simple and very difficult plays look easy.
Dane, we're joined by Dane Bradshaw this morning talking college hoops. Dane, there's this thing that we say in the SEC, it just means more. And Mississippi State's head coach goes to the frat houses and asks the boys to come to the game because they need to make this a violent atmosphere. And they did that, so much so that you had Josh Hubbard also at 46 points on SEC night is what we're going to call it right now as well. What a showing by him and just by Mississippi State as they try to push themselves into the postseason as well. Dane, what did you think about that matchup with them and Auburn?
Josh Hubbard had 35 in the first half, 9 threes. I didn't see every single one of them. I was slipping back and forth, but I mean that kid had. And you look, I'm surprised. But if you were to tell me who in the SEC is capable of getting you 35 in a single half, Josh Hubbard's name would come to mind because he's the shortest guy on the court, but he's an absolute baller, has tremendous lift on his shot. Seems like he never gets fatigued. And I didn't see the beginning of the game, but if he saw those first 1 or 2 go in, if you're Stephen Pearl and the Auburn Tigers, you're like, oh boy, this could be a long night. And that's a very confident, good staff over there at Auburn, who again, they're like some other teams. They've struggled for defensive identity and consistency. But this was more about Josh Hubbard just having a historic one of those nights where the rim looks as big as an ocean. And the one he hit right before half where it was NBA, step back, you just know that it was a special night for him. And then ultimately that gave them a big enough cushion to hold on to a sizable halftime lead and end up winning by 6. But, man, Auburn caught Josh Hubbard on the wrong night. That kid is special, and that'll be something. All those fans that attended that game, that'll be a game they will never forget witnessing the Josh Hubbard 46-point performance.
All I know is, Dane, I was getting way too many Jody Meeks flashbacks last night as a Tennessee fan, and I know Jimmy Dykes mentioned it on the broadcast, Arkansas and Alabama. I'd forgotten. Well, I'd tried to forget. Let's say that, Dane, about Jody Meeks, and it's just incredible. We had 2 Jody Meeks level performances on one night in the SEC.
Yeah, I was actually in the stands for that Jody Meeks game when he had 54. And as much as I was rooting for my alma mater, Tennessee, it was hard not to just be so entertained and wowed watching him tear the Tennessee Vols up. And still got plenty of friends on that were on that Tennessee staff. Every once in a while when that flashback comes up, I shoot them just a reminder of who the heck had that scouting report. I think he had like 28 in the first, 26 in the second. Yeah. So he did it with no overtimes. But, yeah, there were some phenomenal individual performances.
Well, Dane Bradshaw with us, SEC Network and former Tennessee Vol. Nate Ament with a phenomenal performance last night as well with only 29 points. I mean, just slacking, not even getting to 30. How do you think Rick Barnes helped him flip the switch? I'm so fascinated with his development, Dane, and we knew it would take some time, and he's that high ceiling prospect, but it changed quickly, really starting with the Florida loss. So what do you think this staff did to kind of help him along and become, at this point, almost like a baby Dalton Connect, Dane, that we keep talking about here on the show?
Yeah, and it was interesting because I remember Coach Barnes saying, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago how Coach Kim Caldwell had reminded him, she goes, when we were talking in the offseason, how you said, hey, it may take this kid until January to get it, but once he gets it, watch out. And he goes, I forgot I said that to her, but that's exactly right. Wow. And, the Chris Dortch had a great article that he posted about the conversations that Rick Barnes and Nate Ament had behind the scenes. And you'd love to point to just one moment, one meeting that really changed things, which I think in this case, sometimes we overhype, a player-only meeting or whatever it might be. But in this case, I think it was a big deal. I mean, Nate Ament really just told Rick Barnes about the pressures he was feeling, and Barnes was, very adamant about what not to let get to him and making sure he was listening to his coaches, nobody else. And he's a great kid that they all root for and very coachable. And he played loose. But I'll tell you, I didn't call this game, but I attended it. When they were playing Texas A&M, that was after that Florida loss, I believe. And A&M had Tennessee on the ropes. And Ament did not have a good first half, had a terrible start to the second half. He looked like he lacked confidence, but he started making some clutch shots in front of his home fans and made some big shots in that game. And it's not one that's going to make the season highlight reel of a buzzer beater walk-off. But if you go back and look at that game, he really became the go-to player and wanted the ball in the clutch and made some big free throws, turnaround jumpers, and ones, you name it. And I thought, it's one thing to perform well in a loss like he did at Florida. It's another when your team is in a jam and you step up and you make the big plays to get the win. And I thought that was one particular performance that did flip the switch for him.
Dane, when you look at this team, it's so interesting how two comeback wins for Kentucky separate Tennessee from being on a 10-game winning streak. And I know that's not the way this sport works, but you can't throw away the growth that they've had just because, of two just kind of incredible collapses, for lack of a better term, that Kentucky obviously deserves credit for as well. What encourages you most, Dane, within this 10-game stretch to maybe show you that Tennessee is starting to round a corner?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Even though, look, they won the close one at Alabama, Georgia, where you say, well, Kentucky could have gone your way, but a couple others could have gone against you too. But it is hard not to look at the Kentucky game and think, man, if you just take care of the ball a little bit better towards the end, you're 10-2 in league play and one of the top stories. But they've grown from it. They've put it behind them. I think just getting at times the additional scoring, you'd like to know every single night who you're going to get that third scorer from. I don't, even though Gillespie and Amick can take over and it can be fun to watch if they combine for 50 in a game, but you got to have somebody else. And sometimes it's Boswell. Like last night, it became the bigs because they knew they had an advantage against a smaller Oklahoma front court. And so all of a sudden you adjust your game plan and say, hey, Dwayne Brown and Agpara, this is going to be a big man game offensively. And so the fact that they've got some of that versatility, I think says a lot about them. To me, the biggest thing to watch for is Jacoby Gillespie. I'm a big fan of his. He's not grown up being a natural point guard, more of a shooting guard. And even though he's had some mistakes, how does that progress and how do those turnovers and issues he's had to close games out actually make him better towards the end of February, March, to where all of a sudden we're talking early March or whatever and saying, hey, Gillespie was great down the stretch. How about the growth and maturation process for that guy? And I don't know if that'll happen or not, but that to me is one of the bigger storylines to watch because we know March comes down to terrific guard play and clutch moments, especially from the point guard spot.
Talking college basketball with Dane Bradshaw this morning. Dane, before we get to the game, let's talk about the game that they played last night. Vanderbilt walking it down again. They did it earlier this season where they closed out really well, but they have those lulls, man. Last night they lost a 1-point game to Missouri. Vanderbilt, what do you think about their projection in that game last night as a team?
Yeah, I'm still very bullish on Vanderbilt. Look, the fact that they're doing this without Duke Miles and Frankie Collins, they should only get better. But, yeah, they found themselves in some deficits, and I'm sure they're proud of the way they've come back. But you would like to think, hey, let's not dig ourselves as deep of a hole. And if you hadn't seen that finish and you're listening, just go look it up. I mean, they were down,
21?
Yeah.
Four with about 8 seconds left.
Right.
They go hit what seems to be a three that's not going to matter, only 1 second. Missouri heaves it to half court. Tanner intercepts it and almost drills a half quarter to win the whole thing. That would have been the number one play of the night and may have been the lead headline coming onto this show. But I think Tanner's an absolute winner. He's a dog, and I think they've got some of that versatility too. So even though they lost that game, you'd like to see them be more consistent. I'm not totally worried about Vanderbilt. In fact, I think if they can get those guards back, you can see them go a little bit back to some of that full court pressure and tempo that they did early in the season when they were undefeated. They've gone away from that some because of the personnel, and if anything, they might be able to catch some teams by surprise that have been used to this version of Vanderbilt. And then as you enter conference tournament, they're thinking, wow, this is the team we saw in the non-conference.
And Dane, I know you got a job to do still. You got to be across the board, even as you possibly can. But for us that don't work on the SEC network, this is where the state eats itself, okay? Vanderbilt versus the Vols this Saturday, I think, is at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. Dane, you've been in that gym before. You've seen this matchup. You got baseball that's good for Vandy, baseball good for the Vols. You got Vandy beating the Vols in football. It's chaotic, Dane. What do you expect this weekend?
Yeah, I think I'd be really surprised. My opinion might change if Duke Miles comes back, but I like the way Tennessee's star players are playing right now. Yes, the fact that it's at Vanderbilt certainly gives the Commodores a little bit of an advantage there. But at the same time, I like the front court and the way they're playing right now for Tennessee. So even though, look, that game could go either way, and I'm not just saying this because I grew up or because I played for Tennessee, I just like the way Tennessee's playing a little bit more so right now than Vanderbilt, given how shorthanded they are. But if there was ever a game for Duke Miles to come back, boy, it'd be this one.
Absolutely right. Dane Bradshaw, one of many former Tennessee Vols, talking hoops on ESPN SEC Network. Kind enough to join us this morning, recapping a crazy night across the conference. Always going to catch up with you, Dane. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Dane.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right. Dane Bradshaw with us here this morning ahead of a big one between Tennessee and Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Breathe. Okay, like that's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot of basketball. I'll be watching my kids do stuff this weekend. I'm gonna watch my Apple Watch just to see what my heart rate does during that game.
Oh, you're telling yourself with that one. I'm not proud of how high my heart rate has gotten at times.
Phrase. Not proud of myself.
Helps me fill my exercise ring, but
it does.
Even because my watch thinks I'm exercising. Dane's fantastic. It is cool. I know Slay was a part of it too. The picture that all the former Tennessee players, plus Courtney Lyle, shout out, play-by-play on women's basketball for ESPN as well. All the pictures they took of all the former Vols broadcasting is really, really cool. I know that it's fun for a lot of Tennessee fans to watch a lot of their own crush it on television, and Dane is right up there with the very best of them. He's fantastic.
He's really good, man. And I will say, I think our alum is real good on SEC Network in general. I just want to throw that out, okay? No personal involvement in that at all. I'm trying to see how expensive these tickets are this weekend, by the way.
I do think it's interesting, too, when you look at Vandy and the travel schedule. And maybe it's nothing. Mark Byington did mention it, though, after they lost to Texas. And then we're coming back to host Florida. Yeah. SEC teams that go Wednesday to Saturday. And not only were they playing a road game, they're playing the 8 p.m. road game last night. Vanderbilt probably got in. I mean, maybe they stayed there last night. Maybe they're traveling back today. But that's a quick turnaround, Ramon, because either way, if you got in at 1 a.m. or if you got in today at noon after spending the night in Columbia, Missouri, that's a wasted day.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you've got one day to turn around and get ready for Tennessee on Friday. Not saying that's going to ultimately make the difference, but I do think it's something, especially considering Mark Byington has kind of complained about it in the media already this season. Not to make excuses, but just say, like, now this is one of the challenges of SEC scheduling, going Wednesday road back to Saturday at home, and you're playing the late game.
What's fascinating, though, too, to your point about, like, the way Vanderbilt is playing, like Dane just said, like, you don't want to be chasing that deficit. One, you got to work twice as hard to catch up, and then you lose in a heartbreak. And I don't say that because it's them. I say that because, like, in sports, that grind to get back even to try to win games, like, it does break you down. So I'll say this, and I'm sure Vanderbilt's got a lot of this inside of their building. Heck, they're Vanderbilt University and hospitals and technology that they have, but recovery is huge for them over the next 48 hours going into this weekend. I'm talking about hyperbaric chambers, cold tubs, cold plunges, whatever you got to do, massages, because, again, emotionally, this game this weekend, they'll downplay it, but this is a big one. Just coming off of that loss as well. I'm looking at the price of these tickets. Like, of course, the best tickets right now is up to $1,000 for a basketball game.
Yeah.
The minimum to get in is $97. That's not even including the fees and everything else involved in this matchup this upcoming weekend. So, to your point, Will, sleep and recovery is what's going to be paramount for them going into it.
Coming up, a crazy headline in high school sports where cartel money was used for high school sports program. A story you'll have to hear to believe coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems. Man, Tennessee was hit hard by the severe weather last month from Winter Storm Fern, as you all know. As communities across Tennessee continue to work to rebuild from flooded homes and storm-damaged schools to infrastructure weakened by melting snow and ice, USS is here to help. Since 1994, United Structural Systems has helped thousands of families and businesses restore their homes and foundation damage. After foundation damage, often that damage comes from the kind of severe weather that Tennessee sees year after year. You guys know what I mean. You live in this area, so you understand that. But USS doesn't just fix structures. They help restore stability, safety, and a peace of mind, especially from people recovering from storms, flooding, and shifting grounds. Their community involvement, supporting local schools, neighborhoods, and organizations like Habitat for Humanity reflects their belief that rebuilding is about hope and rising again together. And I'm here to tell you once again, United Structural Systems is proud to support Habitat for Humanity. Their upcoming spring build that they're about to get involved in next month in March marks their 10th Habitat build. Yes, that's 10 houses that they've committed themselves to year after year. This year's build take place right here in the Mid-State in Ashland City. If you was wondering where it was, you might be able to go check it out, man. But USS has always shown up when it matters to the people in this community, man, and one of the best companies around. So you can visit USSTN.com and gain a peace of mind with United Structural Systems, foundation repair and waterproofing services. And make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Wrapping up hour 3 on Ramon and Will. More Titans discussion coming up in hour 4. What makes Brian Daboll's offense different from the Shanahan scheme? He'll tell you in his words coming up in 10 minutes. IMG Academy and a drug cartel, Ramon.
Let's go.
Linked together. Not a sentence I expected to say. The U.S. Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control announced that IMG Academy will be fined $1.7 million. The tuition of 2 students. I'm kidding. For accepting tuition fees for 2 students whose parents are linked to Mexican drug cartels. Over 5 consecutive years, IMG Academy repeatedly transacted, never seen the word used in that context, with 2 individuals whom they sanctioned based on their ties to a sanctioned Mexican-based drug cartel, the release says. So according to the reports, IMG Academy's continued tuition transactions for the 2 students racked up 89 violations of counter-narcotic sanctions. The Miami Herald reported IMG received wire transfers from third-party individuals in Mexico as a part of tuition agreements. IMG, therefore, had the names of the sanctioned individuals who they said the school failed to screen. The 2 students were enrolled at the school between 2018 and 2022. The release and reports do not share their names or what sport they played, but tuition amount was disclosed, which was between $97,000 and $102,000, by the way, per academic year. In a statement provided to the Bradenton Herald, IMG Academy says it disclosed the issue when it became aware of the situation and has since started additional screening measures.
How else am I supposed to pay that tuition? With regular 9 to 5 money? Hell, I need some cartel money too to get this $97,000 a year to $100,000 a year. It just fits the story of the school, respectfully. I mean, it's Miami. You're talking about drug cartel money. Like, what else haven't they uncovered is what I would also add into that as well. It seems to me IMG probably didn't know it, just chose to accept these guys for who they were. Them saying it's just 2 athletes, though, it screams to me that they probably chose not to screen them coming in because they probably knew what they were getting themselves into. But as long as tuition was paid, nobody else has anything to say about it.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I would. You trust them and believe them too much. I look at this and say, yeah, they knew. Listen, everybody got some dirt underneath their fingernails. It's just that IMG finally got caught with a little bit under, probably not dirt, some white substance, but that's neither here nor there. Again, this type of school, for it to be that big, it just got bought out, if I'm not mistaken, by a foreign entity as well. Yeah, they did.
That makes it worse.
Well, I'm just saying, I think if
they screened the foreign entity?
Exactly.
I think it was like Saudi Arabia, somebody just recently bought for IMG for like $1 billion or some crazy number. Like, this doesn't surprise me. It fits what the culture is.
A prominent private equity firm.
Yeah, from
a
where?
deal that was finalized in June 2023 from Asia.
To see, I mean, what are we doing here? You don't have this big of a school that operates the way it does. Like, have you guys seen the campus that they?
Oh, it's incredible.
It's stupid.
The tuition's $100,000, so
$100,000. Like, and what I would
per academic year, they say, quote unquote.
Of course, but they got like 3 different football teams that they operate with. They got numerous basketball teams. Like, they operate in a blip that. I would put it this way. The funding for this type of school allowed J.C. Latham to leave Illinois to go to school there.
And they develop really good athletes. There's no doubt about that.
The product is good.
Just a crazy story.
No doubt about it. It's a crazy story, but I think it's, to be quite honest with you, more comical that they're fining them this. The cartel probably probably fronted that money back to them. Here's your little $1.7 million that they're fining you for.
Crazy.
It's not surprising to me.
2 Georgia players were arrested last night on driving-related charges. We're doing this again. Inside linebacker Chris Cole, outside linebacker Darren Ikenagbin were arrested by Athens Clarke County Police. Cole booked at 9:59 Eastern, charged with reckless driving and speeding maximum limits, both misdemeanors. The other player was booked at 10:27, received misdemeanor charges of reckless driving, following too closely, and speeding. Another one.
This is one that I would say Kirby's going to learn from this because one of his players is going to get hurt. One of them's already passed away. we trash all these other coaches for what they're supposed to be doing as mentors and leaders of these guys. I know you can't tell a teenager what to do when they getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for NIL and the culture allows them to go get Hellcats and 700 horsepower vehicles. My point is this. This needs to be checked by Curb. And I know they're trying, but this is a problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. It's also weird how they have such a good football culture on the field. Like, they find ways to win. They're team focused. You know, they say all the right things. Like, you can't argue. Georgia has a good football, in terms of playing football, culture. How do you have that in the locker room and then all of this that goes on the streets all the time? All the time. I will never be able to wrap my head around it. And I think the problem is that neither can Kirby Smart.
And I think he's trying.
If he knew how to fix it, he would have already fixed it.
Yeah. And he's already lost a player.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's downright ridiculous.
You know what it is? Winning.
There are a lot of teams, though, that win that don't have this going on. It's a failure of leadership of the football players at the University of Georgia over multiple teams and multiple cycles. It is a leadership failure of football players.
It is. And what I don't want to happen right now, since they're not talking about, with the moment that if Georgia does start to go downhill, descend, I don't want them to start bringing up these articles in and be like, well, look at all of these infractions. If you're going to have those issues when it goes downhill, if it ever does, have it now. Don't start digging up all these articles later like this is a problem currently.
Sure is. Coming up, fourth and final hour of the show on deck. What makes Brian Daboll's offense different from the Shanahan system? He told us yesterday, and you'll hear it next. What's up? It's Will Boulding. Are you tired of surprise breakdowns and emergency repairs on your home systems? I'm here to tell you, Lead Company can help with that, and they've got a deal for you as well. Lead Company Plus gives you a smarter way to take care of your home. For as little as $14 a month, Lead Company Plus members receive 4 annual inspections for their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. Plus, members receive up to 20% off on every visit and have access to exclusive discounts and promotions. What's not to like? Learn more online at leadcompany.com/plus. And if there's one area of the country where you need this the most, it's the area that throws all 4 seasons at you in 1 week. You got to make sure that heating system, the AC system, are both ready for whatever weather shift Mother Nature makes. We're going from 70 today to lows in the 20s this weekend. You got to be ready for what's next. And with Lead Company Plus, you will get exactly that. Platinum Home Protection starts with a Lead Company Plus membership online at leadcompany.com/plus. That's Lead Company, all you need.
9:02, good morning. Live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Titans defensive coordinator Gus Bradley and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll spoke to the media for the first time yesterday as part of the Titans staff. Daboll talked about why he feels good with having Cam Ward as QB1.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with Cam. His ability to throw the football, his athleticism. Everybody's a little bit different in their drops. Everybody's a little different with their throwing motion. But I'm excited to work with this young man.
Some other NFL news. The Seahawks, after winning Super Bowl 60, are officially up for sale, as the estate of Paul Allen announced yesterday. And Allen bought the team for $194 million back in 1997. And now, after 2 Super Bowl wins, the franchise will be worth billions. In college hoops, last night, Tennessee handled Oklahoma in Knoxville, winning 89-66, led by Nate Ament with 29 points, 6 boards, a block, and a steal. And then number 19, Vanderbilt, they took a close 81-80 loss to Missouri, despite a 27-point performance from guard Tyler Tanner. Winter Olympics in Italy, the U.S. men's hockey team beat Sweden yesterday 2-1 in overtime, thanks to Quinn Hughes, and will now face Slovakia in the semifinals coming up tomorrow. And today, this afternoon rather, the U.S. women's hockey team will face off against Canada in the gold medal game. It all starts around noon Central Time. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Rolling into hour number 4 with the speed of a dog at the Olympics, crashing Olympic skiing yesterday. Just coasting over the finish line on this Friday, Junior. Thursday morning under Ramon and Will. Did you guys see that yesterday?
I did see that.
Just a dog, just vibing, hanging out. It looks like a wolf. Or as Butch Jones would call it, a woof.
Yeah.
Looks like a woof.
A wolf.
What he called it, Ethan Wolf or Eli Wolf instead of Eli Wolf. Anyway. 615-737-1045. I think so too, yeah. I didn't need that, but I appreciate it. Brian Daboll asked about the differences between his scheme and Kyle Shanahan's. And Ramon, yesterday, Daboll did a good job of answering questions without getting into any sort of detail above the 100 level about scheme or players or really much of anything. As expected. Brian Daboll asked, what makes your offense different from the Shanahan system? Here's his answer.
Yeah, I think, look, everybody's got a lot of the same plays in the National Football League. It's how you window dress them. It's the tempo that you want to play with. Again, we're not there quite yet. We're kind of learning how to speak the same language with people in the room that have been here, some new pieces. We want to play fast. We want to play physical. We want to play with a certain edge to ourselves. We want to not lose the game by doing dumb things. But those are the foundational pieces relative to scheme or motion or no huddle. We have all those things. I think it's dependent upon how the players can handle those things as well, too. It's no good putting in a bunch of stuff if your players can't handle it. So we're, looking forward to getting these guys here as soon as they can get here.
Brian Daboll yesterday.
No doubt. Good stuff. He's right. With how he, answered that as well, too. It's about how you set up the stuff that you're trying to do. You can run a gap scheme play the same as the Tennessee Titans would do it versus how the San Francisco 49ers doing it, be the exact same play. You just move people around. What I like about him is this, his attention to saying they're not going to compromise playing fast and guys understanding it. Mm-hmm. The more you can minimize mistakes, play to play, the better success you're going to have, even if you only get 2 yards on those said plays. But fast and violent is what's coming out of that facility right now. So I would probably temper people's expectations just a little bit by saying it's probably not going to look overly complicated. They just want guys executing stuff. When as far as they got to go with trying to replenish this team with talent, I think as simple as you can keep it until you have year after year success and get more understanding from the guy that everybody's talking about, Cam, the better it is going to be for him and all the people that you're asking him to make better as well. Keep it simple. KISS, right?
Keep it simple, stupid. It hurts my feelings every time. That's
Dwight Schrute. So true. It's so true, though,
I think it's really interesting because there's this idea of, the perception being really good coaches have these really nice, magical, fancy plays, and bad coaches are just running simple stuff. Ramon, the difference in scheme between the best and worst, quote-unquote, coaches record-wise in the NFL really isn't that significant, is it?
It's not.
So what makes the difference then, beyond just the players? Because obviously there are some teams that what Kyle Shanahan's running out of a West Coast system in San Francisco with Christian McCaffrey is going to look a lot different than what the Titans would try to run with a similar type of scheme and running the same plays. Players over plays, 100%. But what does separate the good coaches from the not as good ones when it comes to guys like Brian Daboll, who have stuck around in this league for more than 2 decades for a reason?
It's simple. Knowing your personnel. Simply put, I'm not going to ask Cam to do something that I've seen Peyton Manning only do. It's understanding that.
Joe Burrow.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, Joe Burrow. What are your strengths that I need to highlight all the time? It's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure him taking on Josh Allen. What makes Josh unique? Well, his legs. He's a bigger body. He can take a little bit of a hit if you're asking him to make plays for you too. And it's knowing when to remove yourself and just let the players play. Like, that to me is where the conversation, I think it was our guy Tim that called in the 6 o'clock hour speaking about Brian Daboll leaving after 1 year and those types of things. Like, what you want is a continuation of him being here so that this system and Cam's growth can allow him to elevate others as well. Well, how does Cam do that? Well, figuring out first, as Coach Daboll has already said, 1, the respect factor playing into it. But 2, recognizing that he's not like any other quarterbacks that he's played and coached. It's knowing this week we can't run our bread and butter because this team over here is good at stopping inside zone. This team is good at stopping gap scheme. They got a defensive end that has knocked out 3 guards week after week after. So why would I continue to run gap scheme? It's that to me when it boils down to what makes offensive coordinators good at the play calling versus the bad ones. It's why would I ask this 360-pound tackle to be pulling in space? Well, he's probably better in inside zone. It's personnel recognition.
Sure.
More than anything. Like I told you before, for instance, I didn't pull a whole lot in the offense that we was running. David DeCastro did. But when we ran inside zone or one of the backside play, we ran those plays that was conducive to my strengths. If we wanted to get out in space, I had no problem with the personnel of them asking DeCastro, hey, David DeCastro, we're going to have you pull to the left. Therefore, you're good in space. Do those things. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, I do.
It puts the power back in your player's hand, to be real with you, Will. Makes them want to show their strengths as well.
I think Cam Ward has met his match in terms of personality because I think he has a head coach that he is going to really respect. Brian Daboll yesterday talked a lot about the meetings that he had with Cam and his family before the draft last year. It was more than just, I like this football player. It really comes across from Brian Daboll as, I like this person. Cam Ward is wired a little bit differently. It's the question that I think you and I get as much as anything, Ramon, when we're out around Middle Tennessee or people recognize us just like, so what do you think of Cam? And that's always my answer. Well, he's wired a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And that's not meant as a slight or as a criticism. It's just the fact of the matter is that he's not going to process bad things or even really good things the way most humans do. He has a supreme level of self-confidence. With that comes the need for a coach to tell you no sometimes. And I think Brian Daboll is the right kind of coach to tell Cam Ward no. Or not necessarily just no, but here's how I prefer you to do it instead. It's not a minimization of Cam Ward and his role in leading the Titans to more wins. There's this idea among this fan base that anything less than let Cam cook is an insult to Cam Ward, and that you get the best out of him by just letting him go out there and let loose. Actually, the opposite is more accurate. The more you run the football, the more you set up everything else in this offense. That way Cam can just be a part of it and not the headline of it. You're going to get better play out of Cam Ward. And I do think Brian Daboll understands that. I think Robert Saleh understands that. And I think Brian Daboll has the temperament to not be walked all over by Cam Ward.
No doubt.
Not that the last staff was, but it's that I feel like anyone could be. Brian Daboll is not going to take any crap from Cam Ward.
No doubt.
Quite honestly, I think if he does, he's going to give it right back to him.
And I think you heard that yesterday as well in this conversation. We have you can catch us on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter as well. But we have a comment or question in our YouTube chat where you can stream us. And the question from Darius says, Ramon, do you believe in Cam? My approach is the same as his coaches. Will and I had this conversation earlier. I'm not into giving crowns to guys. You got to prove it. Darius, what I would ask of you is, why do you believe in Cam after 1 year with the year he presented to you as well? I'm from the mindset as this as an athlete, man. When it comes down to my belief in who anybody is as a player, I believe in sustained success and showing you each and every week as much as you possibly can. The way I'm approaching Cam is the same way I'll be quite honest with you, Jeffrey Simmons. I didn't know much about Jeff as a player when he came in. What was it, 2017?
He was drafted in 2019.
2019.
Made his debut against the Chargers halfway through the 2019 season.
I never played against Jeff, okay? But here's what I would tell you. When I took this job in 2020, the Steelers and the Titans played against each other. And I'm trying to gauge what Jeffrey Simmons is as a player. My guys who's still in the offensive line, Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, and Alejandro Villanueva, we all still had a group chat. All I would tell you about that game as far as me being able to give a crown to what Jeffrey Simmons is going to be or was going to be as a player was, all they kept talking about in the group chat is Big Jeff, Jeffrey Simmons, 98.
And that was year 2.
And
Jeffrey
what I'm
Simmons.
telling you is this. He earned that reputation. I had the same mindset about Geno Atkins as a player. When I saw him on tape, I'm like, okay, he's getting a whole lot of pressure. And then I tried to snatch and grab him as a player. When I pulled him, he lifted me up. And at that point, I was like, oh, hell, I got a long day ahead of me. My point into people thinking I'm anti-Cam or me slow to give credit is this. In this league, I've seen a lot of one-year guys. I've seen guys do bad in their rookie years and turn into friggin' studs. One of the biggest stories, I think, moments for me in watching people prejudge somebody was watching others prejudge T.J. Watt. It's J.J. Watt's little brother. He's a late first-round draft pick. He looks undersized, and then he turns into Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, for you, it's less about, I don't believe in Cam because of something Cam's done. It's just, it's year 1, and everyone's got to earn the respect.
I'm all about the earning of the respect.
Even the number 1 overall pick.
Think about
That's the way you are as a person.
Brother, that's just me.
For sure.
So your question, and to ask me if I believe in Cam, ain't that I'm anti him. It's that I'm from a very much show me type of mindset.
Well, and I think we sometimes struggle in treating Cam with kid gloves. Cam Ward doesn't treat Cam Ward with kid gloves. Cam Ward is his own biggest critic. We're allowed to also be critics of Cam without being, quote unquote, haters.
Yeah, or having an expectation of him.
Right.
I'll be real with you. I didn't realize I did, but at the same time, I didn't know what A.J. Brown was really going to turn into until you actually see him go out and do those things. Like, I see the projection of it, and maybe I'm usually a step behind seeing what somebody's going to be. What I'm saying is, you got to make me a fan of your game before I oversell you as a player.
Sure.
And I think most fans should be that way. That's how you keep yourself mentally stable on weekends, being real.
Coming up, you asked a question yesterday after the show. What do the Titans learn from the last time they tried to reboot and rebuild and things didn't work? I've gone back and looked at the 2024 free agent class the Titans signed when they went on a spending spree. We'll talk about things they have already started to do differently and what they learned going into the offseason based on what didn't work when they did a lot of this time 2 years ago. That's coming up next. Ramona Will, 104.5, The Zone, the biggest, the largest digital audience on YouTube is at 104.5 The Zone TV. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. YouTube.com/1045 The Zone TV as we near 20,000 subscribers.
Come on, y'all.
On the Zone YouTube channel. 615-737-1045. What are the biggest, largest lessons the Titans should learn from 2 years ago, Ramon Foster, as a new coaching staff once again enters the building and they got money to spend in free agency? You asked this question yesterday after the show, and I'm curious where you think things went the most wrong now, 2 years removed from year one of the Brian Callahan era.
Man, I initially thought, just looking back at it, too much too soon. Too much hype, too much expectation, too much money spent at spots that you thought were going to be immediate impact, too much projection, and too much on the plate of guys that weren't ready to carry it as well. When you look at even Will, before the 2024 season, the expectation from guys who were draft picks even, like Peter Skoronski, and the expectation for him, just too much, if I can be honest, for Will Levis. It was too much of everything, and it set, I feel like, in my personal opinion, everybody involved, from Miss Amy all the way down to the last player on the roster, for failure. It set them up for it, in my personal opinion, whether that's on them personally with preparation, game plan, management, or just the way it was thrown out for us to take and run with it. That's why I think now, before we even had got to the conversation with the coordinators yesterday, the temperament and how they set expectations, spoke to the media, was brought back, I thought, big time.
Yeah, there seems to be just a level of calm in having people who have done these jobs before.
Yeah.
We didn't see that as a big red flag maybe in the moment in 2024, exciting. But it was kind of right in front of us, wasn't it?
It was.
Because it felt like we were going from a coaching staff and Mike Vrabel at the end of the 23 season that had a lot of retreads, a lot of buddies, a lot of people that weren't qualified to coach the positions they were coaching. And on paper, you felt like you had significant upgrades in Bill Callahan coaching the offensive line, in Frank Bush at linebacker. He did his end of the bargain, by the way. Frank Bush is a terrific linebackers coach.
Yeah, he did.
With Tracy Rocker coaching the defensive line. Like, it felt like a veteran-laden staff with a quarterback guru coach who was supposed to make this fun and good. Yeah. And neither happened. And at the end of the day, we learned that maybe the positions with the most experience should have been the coordinator spots, because you had first-time coordinators in all three of your phase coordinator positions: offense, defense, and special teams. So I think that's where you have to begin, Ramon, to say, what did they learn from last time? Hire people who have done the jobs before.
Speak.
And Robert Saleh's been the head coach before. Gus Bradley's been a defensive coordinator many places. And Brian Daboll has not only been an offensive coordinator, he's been a head coach before. We can at least check that box to say they learned their lesson. That's the surface level. Ramon, where I'm curious and going a little bit deeper is, what did they do wrong in that offseason in building the roster?
Okay.
So I did some digging. I went back and looked at the free agent class they brought in 2024.
Gotcha. And
actually found a piece from Nick Suss, the Tennessean, who graded each of these moves. And it's interesting how some of these aged really well, others did not. Their 2024 free agent class, starting with Mason Rudolph. I'd say that is not necessarily a hit. It wasn't necessarily either a miss. It's just, of all the signings, that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, and his
backup
role was to be a backup quarterback to Will Levis, somebody that was going to be
to a legit QB1.
And even before then as well, like, let's speak about that signing and that just that scenario as well. Like, Will Levis, as I hit the table, here's your team. Make it work. Like, even that part of it, like, I know he was a projected first rounder and high expectation going into that second year. Too much, though, Will. Too much as far as thinking that he was going to take you over the top. Like, that's the reason I think I'm super just brash about saying don't expect a lot or don't put too much on Cam's plate, because I personally did think at that time, Second year for Will Levis, this big arm, this offensive guru.
Oh, we're ready to take a step, right?
Brother.
Yeah. And two, like the moves that they made were the product of a franchise that felt like it was ready to compete.
Yeah.
They misjudged how ready they were to compete. You don't go trade for L'Jarius Sneed if you don't feel like you have the foundation in place to go for it. Within that building, they felt like, Ramon, they were going to be in the mix of the AFC South in 2024. They earned the number 1 overall pick in 2024.
Yeah, they did.
They misjudged it. Yeah. And that started with Will Levis, who obviously was added in 23, but was supposed to take that next step. My question for you is, how differently could Will Levis's career have been as a Tennessee Titan if he wasn't given the keys to a V8, but instead a cash for clunker trade-in? If he was asked to be a passenger and not the driver,
right,
could his tenure here have gone differently?
I think the talent is there. I think that's why still a good bit of his fan base takes up for Will Levis. This is not his conversation. It's about the 24 group, right?
He was a big part of that rebuild, though.
But I don't want to make it just about him. The point to you that you're bringing up as well is very fair. Like, if he'd just been asked to just do your part, don't do anything more, I'll even throw him under the bus right here, too. I think that's where Brian Callahan's most flagrant move was. And we've talked about this as well. Thinking that a young second-year quarterback with a lot of talent, a big arm, and just a competitive drive was going to solve all your problems. To your point that you brought up a second ago, this is where the experience of the coordinators play a part. This is where not having a first-time play caller on offense plays a part in it as well, because even on a small, minute level of me being a flag football coach, you find yourself in moments where it's just like, well, they'll get it. No, they won't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it relates, and I think a lot of what they were asking, he was asking Will Levis to do, he and Nick Holtz were asking him to do, he wasn't ready for it. That's why you find him in Chicago flipping the ball up in the air because he thought he had all the answers. That's where you're bringing up the point of the Brian Daboll to Cam Ward. Brother, stay in the pocket, deliver the ball. It ain't there, throw it away. That's where I continually bring up Ben Johnson to Caleb Williams. His passing percentage, Caleb Williams, is low, but it's because he asked him to take care of the football and let everybody else do their part.
And just not take hits.
And not
get rid of it. His completion percentage is low, too, because I feel like he throws the ball away more than any quarterback in the league.
But look at the record.
Yeah, exactly. You win games that way.
You win games.
Right.
So
stay on schedule on offense.
I feel like I've not criticized Brian Callahan enough. This is where I will criticize him on the Will Levis management, to your point about how he could have been as a quarterback.
Yeah, I still think there's a world where Will Levis is a professional quarterback for a long time and sees his full potential. I mean, heck, if Malik Willis can do it, why can't Will Levis? But problem is, it's not going to happen here, and we've got to be okay with that.
And we do, and to the benefit, Green Bay put training wheels on Malik Willis,
big time. And I still don't believe Malik Willis on a $30 million a year contract is a very good decision for a franchise. I think he's Matt Flynn all over again, another former Packers backup that got paid, and look what happened.
System.
Different players, different systems, different a lot. I get it. His sack to pressure ratio is still sky high. When he's pressured, he goes down. Malik Willis. He's played so well in Green Bay in a really limited sample size with 3 good receivers and a functioning offensive line and one of the best play callers in the National Football League. I worry about Malik Willis going to a bad team and having to be the guy to that point to fix it all. Will Levis here was the guy to fix it all.
Yep.
And not only did he not fix it, he made it worse by doing so much to give games away. So, yes, I think that's the first kind of roster-building piece of this you learn is that while we may love Cam Ward's talent and understand that he has got this mega potential, we get to that potential in due time.
In due time.
We're not going to get it all at once. They also signed Tony Pollard in 2024. I think Tony Pollard has been a successful addition, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
Should they have gotten rid of Derrick Henry for it? We don't know if Derrick wanted to come back. And I know we're relitigating a lot of stuff right now. But again, just for the sake of argument on how you learn from what happened 2 years ago, this is another example of being purposeful in the additions you make and not taking one step forward, but also one step back. That was a logical time to move on from Derrick Henry, and I think Derrick Henry would agree, obviously, that it was a logical time for him to move on as well. But when you make additions at wide receiver, is it worth keeping Calvin Ridley as you do it? Because you got the money. Right. When you add edge rushers, do you add, but also keep around Arden Key maybe on a one-year deal if he wants to be here? Like, are you willing to say yes and? Because there are moves that they will make this offseason that we'll be praising, but at the end of the day, the rooms have got to get better. And yes, Tony Pollard has been a good addition. The running back room did not get better when you added Tony Pollard and got rid of Derrick Henry. It was supposed to be by committee. It was going to all be better. It wasn't.
It was not.
And that's, I think, another lesson they can learn here is let's add, but let's also not always have to feel like we subtract when we add. Like, can we get another tight end to help out and keep around Chikakakwo? I don't know if any of these are going to end up happening. I'm just saying,
straight up,
you can't just totally cut bait with everyone and then add one guy in return. Okay, you may be adding a good tight end or edge rusher or wide receiver, but is the room getting better? Is the question that they've got to be consistently asking.
And I think that's what, looking at the list of free agents, that leads directly to Calvin Ridley. Like, that point right there is direct. Like, yeah.
That's been treated as like a slam dunk. He's gone, and I don't think that it is.
I agree with you there.
I think he probably is, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Calvin Ridley's just out the door.
Well, you can see a possibility in which they decide to move on.
100%. And I can see a possibility of them deciding to keep him.
Because the thing I think Daboll, I ain't gonna say he didn't slip in, but he mentioned two wide receivers, Tim and Elliott. I think Calvin should be a part of that conversation as well. You know what I'm saying? To your point about you can't, I guess there's a false belief in free agency. Oh, we can just go shopping, grab your Walmart cart, and we just going to go up all aisles and pick all the best items. It don't work like that.
They've got to want you. And also, another thing we learned from 2 years ago, you can't put yourself in terrible contract situations. Luckily, they don't have a lot of other guys they've had to pay, so they have the money to cut bait on L'Jarius Sneed, and it doesn't hurt.
Right.
But the L'Jarius Sneed trade was a big, big swing and a miss. Contract-wise and trade capital-wise and what you gave up to go get him. And again, to your point, it was too much too soon.
Too much too soon.
That's a move you make when you're competing, not a move you make when you're building.
When you're thinking you're about to go compete. Like, no, you need to know you in that window right now.
For sure.
And that's where keeping Calvin around, to your point, is probably more of an asset than it is a detriment to what you're trying to do as a team, because you ain't got to get rid of Calvin. His salary is very friendly when you look at everybody else. When you speak about George Pickens getting like $40 million a year, that's a real good salary. And he possesses a talent. And you have a coach that's coached him before in Brian Daboll that now's got experienced young guys and Alec and Chimray that can probably put Calvin in a position where he's role playing and doing more of the stuff he did with the Jags.
The other 2024 free agent class members for the Titans, Calvin Ridley. It hasn't worked for Calvin here. Injury being a big part of it, but when you only have 2 years here and one of them's totally taken away by injury, it hasn't worked. And unfortunately, the same can be said for Lloyd Cushenberry. That was viewed as an A-plus move by anyone writing about NFL free agency 2 years ago. Sadiq Charles, they added at guard. I remember him. He retired after about 1 week of being coached by Bill Callahan. And then he went to play for, the Cowboys, I think, last year?
Yeah.
Swing and a miss.
Oh.
Kenneth Murray, swing and a miss.
But can I say, I thought that was a home run. He wasn't ready.
So here is, I think, the lesson they need to learn to kind of wrap a bow on this, Ramon. The Tennessee Titans don't need to be an I can fix him organization anymore.
That's, yeah.
2 off seasons ago, whether it was Will Levis at quarterback, Kenneth Murray at linebacker, whether it was Calvin Ridley at wide receiver, L'Jarius Sneed with knee problems.
Will
the
Levis
Titans,
even?
I said him, I said him first.
Okay.
The Titans went through a phase of I can fix him. And how many of those players were really fixed, Ramon? Too many projects. I think the Titans 2 years ago were too obsessed with ceiling versus floor. And I think this time around, the overall tone of that press conference yesterday was, we're not making any promises. Let's wait and see. Good. Keep doing it. Keep saying it.
Brother.
Because that shows me that there is a mentality shift within that building and this new coaching staff to not say, when I'm asked about Devondre Sweat, the answer is not, we love his athleticism. We feel like he can ... It's, no, well, I'm not going to give you a real evaluation of him yet. There's a lot of players that we want to get to work with, and everyone has a clean slate. Keep saying it. Keep doing it. Show me. Show me that everyone has a clean slate and that we're not expecting the over-promise of there aren't a lot of humans that God made like Devondre Sweat. And I get you've got a job to sell draft picks and to hype guys up, and that's all good. But then the work has to start. Mm-hmm. And then it needs to shift from I can fix him to how do we disaster-proof this roster? And the Titans hadn't been able to do that over the last couple of years.
Or as I wanted to, what was it last week? And I told you I had a soapbox moment when you mentioned that I can fix him or he fixes us type of conversation. This is where I think this coaching staff moving forward will probably remove itself from saying, just because Cam played with Xavier Restrepo, that's going to be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the two wide receivers, like, make this next era of Tennessee Titans football be people and players that prove to you that they are what you thought they were.
I mean, I think we could go back even to the Jeffrey Simmons pick in the 2019 NFL draft. John Robinson started to make too many I can fix him gambles. Isaiah Wilson and Caleb Farley. Traylon Burks. The Titans were too obsessed with potential for so long. And I think when Chad Brinker took over in his role a year ago and Mike Borgonzi was hired, it seemed that the sense of patience that they implemented was very different from what we saw this time 2 years ago. What I'm curious in, Ramon, is how does that manifest itself in an offseason where you have more cap space than anyone else in the league? And you do have to spend 90% of it over a 4-year rolling average. There is a floor of what you have to spend. I'm almost more interested in how they get to the floor versus the cap. A lot of teams, you worry about, like, oh, man, like, I hope they don't go over, or we have too much money. Like, for this team, I'm like, how do you balance the things you've said about patience, about draft and develop, while also knowing that you've got a lot of holes to fill, and there are a lot of free agents out there that you could overpay to bring in that you have the money to overpay? It's a fascinating balance between philosophy and need, and immediate need, because you have one corner on the roster.
No doubt.
In Marcus Harris.
Sometimes some of the people that you love and want just belong to the streets. You leave them out there. And to your point, you pinpoint what you want that building and culture to look like. I thought it was super unique in how, not super unique because he's doing his job, but the way Gus Bradley was breaking down the type of in/3 technique that he wants as a defensive lineman. Like, he know what it looked like, and I'm glad he didn't give an answer as to what he wants his cornerbacks to look like. Like, no, to your point, Will, we'll keep this in-house. We'll show you what it looks like on tape. And that defeats, to me, and I think that's been some of the biggest just drawback and just hate that Miss Amy Adams-Strunk has taken because of other people in front of her saying what this team is going to be like.
Right.
Let the product speak for itself, and at some point in time, you're going to know what it is. And to your point about this 24 class and 23's draft class as well, the overselling of we're ready to compete and it's fixed takes time.
And I get it's hard to let the product speak for itself when the product isn't good, but you got to stomach it at this point of a rebuild. 615-737-1045. Interesting. Yeah, I think it's all very fair. Coming up, one NFC team is about to make an announcement that their fans are going to hate. We'll tell you what it is next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Right now is, I think, close to the 70s outside, and you probably got to turn on the AC into your home, man. It's like that, and if your unit isn't working the way you need it to, I'm telling you, man, reach out to Hiller. They will handle your plumbing, your electrical, or HVAC issues in a matter of minutes, man. They're just really good at what they do. I personally use them, man. They're some of the best in business. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated. Their techs, which are the guys or ladies that have come to your house, man, are very professional, experienced, and trustworthy, and they're all background and drug screen as well. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of that tech and a link to track them in real time so you're not sitting around wasting your time for them to show up or guessing when they're going to be at your house. Here's what they will do. If you have a problem, they will fix it quickly. And they're not going to sell you something you do not need as well. And the price that you're told is the prices you'll actually pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises on your bill when you get them at all. Their motto is, and they truly believe this, happy you'll be or the service is free. If you want to book with Hiller or learn more about them, simply go to happyhiller.com and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Wrapping up the show on Ramon and Will, Buck Rising, and the whole crew have you up next. You know what? I should start with Lucas Panzica, Robert Walsh, and the rest of the crew have you coming up next.
You idiot.
Cover 2 and the afternoon show. I'm kidding. 3HL. I say that only for Joseph Bonanno. I mean, no slander whatsoever to
shout out to 3HL.
Mayor Babs and Slay.
The producer dude can kick rocks, okay? This is what we are right now. You got me?
You are on the show today, right?
I'm calling
unless they ask you to move again for whatever other guests they have.
Because Joseph forgets to put me on the show rundown is what I've learned. Not Brent, not Don, not Savage. Joseph forgets to put me on the show rundown. Not just once. If it happens once, okay, it's cool. All right, I broke the window. Sorry, Mom, Dad. But he's done it numerous times where I've just been left out in the wind.
That is a demerit.
There you go.
Instead of them putting you on hold today, you should put them on hold and see if they scramble.
I'm not calling the interview line. Okay, I refuse to speak to Joseph, is what I'm telling you. I will call the hotline, and I will have Brent pick up my phone, okay, at 615-737-1045. That's why I will call into to do my interview today.
As expected, the Chicago Bears stadium updates are nearing the finish line, and they are closing in, Ramon, on a deal to move to Indiana. The Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm.
I thought you joked about that yesterday. You serious?
I was talking about Iowa yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
They entered the fray as well. So the Bears have been in a tug of war between the state of Illinois and the state of Indiana. And Illinois made a final push to keep the Bears in state. Reports this morning are that they are likely headed to Hammond, Indiana. The Illinois House Committee meeting that was scheduled for Thursday, which was set to discuss the funding for a stadium in Arlington Heights, has now been canceled. The Bears have made a statement. The Indiana governor has put out a statement on Twitter. And Adam Hogue reports that according to Indiana Speaker of the House, Tom Huston, the Bears will commit $2 billion to a stadium project near Wolf Lake in northwest Indiana. The rest of public funding will be similar to Lucas Oil Stadium. Wow. I wonder how Colts fans feel about their state helping bring the Bears to their state.
If you look at Chicago on a map and Hammond, Indiana.
It's not far.
Okay, yeah.
It's right across the way.
It is right across the way, but that's still a nice little distance from, like, if you've never been to Soldier Field, it's like that stadium is downtown like Chicago. Like, it's in the city. I'm with you. There are going to be some people that throw rocks at this stadium, man. This is nuts. Crazy, they're serious about, like, this isn't a play for more money from Illinois.
This is it. Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
They're the Indiana Bears?
The Indiana Bears. That's right.
Who do you think they are? New York?
They think they're the Indiana Bears.
New Jersey Giants.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Wow. I did not see this being a play like that. That's too iconic of a team to be moving out of the city of Chicago.
I've not been to Soldier Field yet. No, that's not true. I've been right by it. I've not been in it yet.
Beautiful.
I love a downtown football stadium. This is a loss for Bears fans.
It is, for real. You hadn't been, but I've been a few times. Mm-hmm. It's embedded into that city.
Oh, right? I know. Yeah, I've driven right by it. I've just not been inside.
The riverfront activity that it possesses, like, and the people able to walk to the stadium from the downtown area to be a part of it. I can't imagine what this is going to do to the economy of Chicago if that stadium's not there or in the vicinity. Why they can't make this work is why we hate, I guess, politics and state government with this type of stuff.
Connor Orr, senior writer for Sports Illustrated, says, in speaking to sources close to the situation, this Bears moving to Indiana thing is not just gaining momentum. It feels like an inevitability, barring a major change of course from the state of Illinois. This is wild. More on Sports Illustrated soon.
It says it's the only city in Indiana to border Chicago.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, it's closer to downtown Chicago than Arlington Heights would have been. It's just in a different state. Back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., bright and early. Lots to talk about between Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Ron Slay will be here to do exactly that. Brent Hubbs at 7:20. And you, we hope, on the 104.5 The Zone Podcast Network. Go get the podcast if you missed it, Ramon.
But remember at all times, good people, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.